Hello and welcome to another episode of Convos and Chill. This show is about me and my guests clicking on topics that we all share the same interest, and we talk about it over a cup of tea. And today's guest is very special to me. His name is Barney Ribeiro from the legendary homegrown Dubai band Nervecell. And guys, we're going to be talking about a lot of things about Nervecell, and the history behind it and how they started and the tours and everything that happened along the way. So you should stick around because this is an interesting topic. So thank you very much for tuning in, whoever is watching. Please share this video with your friends and let them know about the page so we can get more content out for you guys, and let's grow this community. So without wasting any more time, I am gonna go to the second scene so you guys can see my good friend Barney. Barney, what's up, man? You're good?
Hey, what's up, Daddy?
You good, bro? How's everything, man?
Good, man, I'm good.
How you been? How's everything with the pandemic, bro?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, man. But we're getting there. It's been a long time since I had so much downtime back to back.
Oh, and, really?
Yeah. The last time I felt this way was probably around the time when Desert Rock just finished.
Man,
that
Desert
sequence
Rock,
of
man.
6 years.
Fuck, man. Desert Rock, man. Such a cool time.
And we as a band were just waiting for what's next to come. But obviously this time we can't compare. There's a world pandemic going on and people are dying, man. So
did it affect you guys as in I know that it affected the whole band tours and all these things, but like as in your social lives, that you like, for example, your job, because you work in the whole entertainment section, yeah? So how was that?
Right,
how did you cope up with that whole fucking thing? As in no gigs, nothing happening.
I mean when this kicked off, man, it was like end of March for us in Dubai. I mean the rest of the world it was probably a bit earlier, but I freelance a lot, so I do all sorts of things, man. If it's not Nervecell, then it's me working as a backline tech with events. It's me putting on events, which I've stepped away from for the last few years. But it's also me teaching music. I got into that a lot over the last 5 to 6 years. So even owning an event company with Ryan, Main Stage Events, we haven't been doing much, in the prior years to where we are in 2020. So, and with Nervecell, we decided to take a little bit of a break. So, it's rough, man. I mean, we gotta just find different revenue streams as artists at this point, because everyone who's a musician and a touring musician has really faced this head first, man. Like it's scary to think that we may not even get to a stage anytime soon. Until 2021. And that's really.
Man, it's depressing. Man, it really affected everyone, as in the whole entertainment section of this shows. Any sort of gathering is just being affected by this thing. But there was other ways that they were trying to, for example, for cinemas, they were doing drive-through cinema, and you can set your radio frequency on some specific frequency. You could hear the movie through your car, and there was they were trying to do some stuff, but it's just one of these things that you can't just confirm it. Yeah, people will abide the rules, but in my opinion, people are really not following the rules. I just don't think why they're not following.
Sorry. I think I got some. I gotta stop my phone.
Just what you call it? Put it on.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, it's done. Sorry, man. Yeah, you were saying they were trying to do drive-throughs here. Why is this happening,
dude?
Yeah, all right, I'm good. I got you. You were saying drive-thrus? I don't know about that. They were trying to do drive-thrus?
Yeah, MOE was during the whole kind of lockdown thing. And actually, prior to the lockdown, they had this promotion as in it was setup price for bunch of things and the movie ticket. And you go in with your car to the rooftop parking. And you sit in the car, and they give you a frequency that you need to set your radio on so you can hear the movie.
For the movies, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Well,
so even some of my friends, they were talking that they were trying to do some sort of a thing for some gigs in the UK, but the whole rule didn't went through. So They're just
Yeah,
like, you know,
I mean, for concerts, I think that's a bit stupid. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I can't wait for a concert, but to think that you're gonna go to a concert in your
yeah, I
car,
mean,
man, like such
it's
a
just gonna be a
confined space.
different vibe, man. I mean, you
How the hell are you gonna rock out to that? I mean, you can't. It's
and
impossible.
that,
You
yes,
can.
and
First
that.
of all, you're sitting down in the car, all right, and then it's like it takes a toll on your body and your physique, man. You can't really, you know, get out there
Exactly,
and
man.
let your hair
Exactly.
out. And I mean, I don't know if they were doing that for concerts here, but I guess for movies it would make sense because they had if you're an old school Dubai guy, they had a Rec Cinema where
Oh
what
man,
Noah
that's like way fucking old, bro.
yeah. So if you yeah, it's what Mirdif used to be at least before Mirdif became a community. They had this drive-through cinema called Rec Cinema in Dubai for all the old school guys who are here in the chat. They would relate. But like
Yeah.
concerts, taking that to a concert level is ridiculous. I mean, maybe if you're listening to like new age music or orchestra stuff,
Or maybe like an
that would be
electronic
cool.
gig.
That would be
Maybe an
actually kind of
electronic
cool.
gig would like do the job. I just want to give a shout out to
Yeah.
the guys, man. Achilles is in the house. The guy who's responsible for the opening, starting soon page illustration. He's in the charge. He's in the charge. Wow, my English. He's in
Cool,
charge of that. So shout out to Achilles. Motassim is in the house. What's up, man? Thank you very much for tuning in. Vinit is in the house, man. They're saying sub, dude. So we got a
Hey,
bit
guys.
of.
I love all these guys you just mentioned. I mean, I don't know the first guy you mentioned. I don't think, but obviously Vinit and Mutazim, of course. He's
Dude,
like the savior of the metal scene
Exactly, man.
for the last few
exactly.
years in the UAE. He and I go way back.
Yeah, man, dude. Even me and Motassim, we go way back. Like I'm talking about 2001ish, 2ish, when he was early, like the early days when he moved to Dubai. I knew his cousin Wa'il. Correct me if I'm wrong, Motassim, if you're in the comments. I know Motassim through him. He used to come for the chill out sessions that we used to have like back in the days in Sharjah. Then he started to work in Virgin and he took off with his journey and he made Metal East Records and all this good stuff.
Hell yeah, man.
So I know him since then, man.
Mutazim, man. I mean, I can't stop talking about how much that guy has done for our scene today.
Exactly.
And Jabber too, and Jabber, with Josian and stuff. Like those two guys are the pillars right now.
Yeah, I
holding
mean,
the flag.
yeah, they did it in a good way. They chose, like the strategies they chose. It's very good and it's like planned in a very smooth way, to not interrupt with each other or like back in the days they were like this guy going and reporting the CID over this guy because of this. You know what I'm talking about, yeah.
What's that, gig wise?
Yeah, gig wise, this guy brings
Okay.
a black metal band and this guy goes and reports to the police. Is like, man, they're bringing a satanic band and all that crap, man. I mean, that's why this community is like, growing stronger.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. I mean, yeah, it's we've come full circle, man. We were the most open-minded GCC country to idiots in the scene who were just jealous to see other people do it right
Exactly.
and
man.
actually put in the work and bring in the bands we all never dreamt of seeing, being kids growing up in the Middle East, getting into metal. So, I'm really glad that we've those guys have just got bored and fucked off.
Yeah,
And
man.
we
I
still
mean,
have
yeah,
we still have a
exactly.
close knit kind of scene today, with guys who really are making a difference.
Exactly, man. Exactly. So let's kick it back, man. I know you since 2005, man. I still remember you guys finished your set where you guys were opening for Sepultura, Desert Rock 2005.
Yeah,
And-
that's right.
And I saw you in the audience, and you were just having your Heineken beer and just like chilling. And I walked up to you and I'm like, hey man, what's up, man? Great set. Since then,
Cool,
I
man.
know you, man. Since then, this relationship with you, it's still constant, and you are one of the most down to earth motherfuckers I've seen in my life, man. Like it never gets, like seriously, there's people that a bit of fame gets to their head and they're just like someone else. You catch my drift, yeah?
Yeah.
But with you guys, were never like this, man. Even the other guys in the band, you guys were so legit to the scene, and you guys were always for the scene, because you understand what's the struggle and you appreciate the fan base that you guys have. That's what I like about Nervecell and the guys in Nervecell.
Thank you, man. I mean, you've like you said, you've seen us at that crucial stage where we were just about getting somewhere, you know,
Exactly. Yes.
kind of taking it to that next level where we were now playing with international acts and like doing bigger shows, festival scale shows and stuff. So when you met me, I probably don't remember that exact moment, but then I guess the very next show or two, you would be a very frequent
Exactly,
gig
dude.
goer. And like there's so many people who I can remember meeting in those days when the scene was, you know, very reliable on everyone else being a part of it and showing up, and communication was key. You know, we didn't have the internet so much as it was as it is today that dominates how you need to be a band, but physical interaction and communication is crucial, man, in establishing a fan base. And you know, being the home fan base, it's not like we went extra hard to be nice. It's just that we were so grateful for finding people who dig our music and would come out to watch us. And it was like, the show can't just be the band. You know, we need genuine fans, and we needed people who became friends after, you know, initially meeting them as fans, and really a close community, man. And that's what it all was based on. You yourself, when I met you, probably weren't in AKB what you formed.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple of years later, but it's stories like that just kind of make me put a smile on my face. You know, it puts a smile on my face, because I'm glad that it's people like you who remember those stories, because we have to be the same guys we always were. We know what it took us to get to where we are today, and whatever level of success Nervecell has achieved. Those initial stages, I mean, yeah, like your introduction to me, those days where I was just like anyone else in the scene learning. You know, we just had opportunities presented to us, and we grabbed them and we made the best out of them. You know, so yeah, thanks, man.
Man, you don't need to mention it, bro. And Akhilesh here is saying, I bumped into Barney back in 2008 in IBS flight case. Yes, Nervecell was opening for Dubai Desert Rock, probably for Opeth.
Okay. So he met me at the warehouse, I think, in one of the free zones, which was really far away. We had to get these flight cases made for our amp heads, our guitar amp heads. And someone told me about this place that does custom-made flight cases. So I still don't remember who he is, but I apologize, Akhilesh. I mean, if he met me at the warehouse, I probably would not remember him there, because I was like, we just rocked up and we're like, hey man, we need flight cases. These are amps. Get the dimensions right, and give us some discount, because we're getting 3, not just 2 or 1. But if you met me there, I apologize. I mean, that's a long time ago. In fact, that flight case he's talking about is probably this very one right here, if you can see it.
Wait, point at it again, like.
This flight case right here, above this cab I have.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I think we were actually doing that because we were traveling. We were going overseas to Europe for the first time, and I got my Madison amp head at that point. I was endorsed with a company from the States, Madison Amps, and I didn't get a flight case for it, obviously, so I had to custom build it. And then someone told me that there's this place in Dubai that does it, so I had to go and get it done. So yeah, that may just be the one that's up there, right above. If you can see it, I don't know if you can. There's a bunch of cabs behind me, and there's an amp head, all the amp heads on top.
Nice. And Nick is in the house, is saying Barney for president. Nick Uzi.
Yeah, Nick's one of the OGs.
OGs of the scene, man. Thank you.
Nick's a cool guy.
Yeah, man. Thank you very much, guys, for tuning in. Please do share this video with your friends, and share it on your timeline so you can get more traffic into the page, and to let them know about the page. Sorry if I do this most of the time, because it's part of the plan. So, Barnes, tell us about the origin of the name of the band and how you guys met up, how the band formed back in the days, man.
Nervecell, the name, yeah.
Yes.
I say this in every interview I do, man. It seems to be interesting. I don't know. Some bands probably have a very straightforward name. Ours was thought of. It wasn't like a fluke or something, but it was in 2000 when we started the band. Although we didn't have a name for it, we just said we'll get a bunch of guys together. I met this guy called Hatham, who was the original Nervecell drummer. And we found a vocalist in AUS because half them was in AUS, and I would go there to the American University in Sharjah and like jam with those guys because they were students and they had access to classrooms when the day was done for university. And literally they would like snuggle me in the university campus, and then we would start jamming and playing what we were initially writing original tunes, you know, for the band. So Brogan had a bunch of friends in Abu Dhabi, and we registered ourselves into the Battle of the Bands in AIS school. For those who are in Abu Dhabi would know, that was the first Nervecell gig actually. So we had to come up with a band name. I mean, we couldn't just enter and say, you know, Dubai band, Dubai metal band or anything. We had to have a name. So we had Nerve Lock originally.
Nerve Lock.
For some reason.
Okay.
Yeah, something like around Nerve Lock that we were thinking about, and then three of us sat down and said, let's do Nervecell, because it kind of like encompasses that same ideology of like you know, the word nerve being an essential part of the human body, and the expression like you know, this one incident or this one person was getting on my nerves or is getting on my nerves. So that state of frustration, hence the word nerve. And then the word cell, meaning keeping you locked up in that state of mind where you can't explode onto someone or unleash what you want to, you know, take out. And when you're in that state of mind. So nerve cell as in like prison cell, like being locked in. And having to deal with it and come, you know, face to face with your frustrations, and hence the music sounding the way it is.
So so you guys came up with the name, and who was the first guy you got introduced to from the core band members right now? Who was the first guy that you initially started jamming with?
I mean, so Nervecell was essentially a 5-piece band. We were actually a lot of people don't know this. If you didn't see Nervecell in the initial years, which were 2000 to 2002, we were actually more of a hardcore band. Like, and I don't mean like a punk hardcore. I mean like a metal hardcore. So we were literally like playing. We had just 2 originals, and we would cover a bunch of songs, which would predominantly be like, you know, like Obituary or some hate stuff. Yeah. But that also was because I was always into like death metal and stuff and extreme metal, but half them was more into hardcore. And then Brogan was a crossover guy. He was like he was American, our original singer, and he had bought in a lot of bands that we never heard from. You know, Sick of It All, Earth Crisis, you know, all these bands, Case, and like some really cool crossover hardcore bands, but obviously very metal oriented. So I dug all of that stuff, and from a very young age I was always grabbing new music. I just wanted to learn it all, you know. We didn't have so many subgenres as we do today, but it was you get the point. So we were actually a death metal band influenced, playing hardcore only because we couldn't, all the members in the band at that 5-piece lineup could not really play the way I wanted to play extreme metal. So we had to compromise a bit. And we went with it. It worked, and we pretty much exploded on the scene from the very first gig we played, man. The AIS Battle of the Bands I was telling you about that we were forced to come up with a name for ended up being like the first Nervecell show. But man, did we leave an impression. Like, I mean, we ended up walking out of that competition for being awarded the most creative band that night, and I got best guitarist. And I have to tell you, like, I'm not one of these Joe Satriani, Steve Vai guys, man. I don't play licks and scales, and you know, I obviously I appreciate all of that as a guitarist, but I don't really. I'm more of a riff guy. I've always been, you know, more of a fucking riff-oriented dude. And yeah, sure, I play one or 2 leads here and there when it's necessary, but like, at that point, to win best guitarist was a joke, because I felt weird getting that award, and I still have that envelope somewhere as a memory. It was like, it said, again, this was our first gig, so it said like, best guitarist, Nervecell dash long haired dude, because nobody knew who we were. You know, and it was like a gift voucher from AKM, AK something, some music store in Abu Dhabi. I can't remember. Like a 500 dirham gift voucher or something. But yeah, right from that first gig, man, it was like whoa, okay, we just walked away with like 2 out of 8 awards from the very first show, and we didn't even know what was going to happen. We were just so happy to get on the stage and play, these songs that we had written for the last year, and it was a great introduction into what was to come after that.
So I just want to give a shout out to the guys in the comment section.
Yeah,
Adnan is in
absolutely.
the house. He's giving you
Hey, what's
the
up,
sours sign, and
Yeah.
we got Sid in the house. He's saying sub homes, and we got Mohanad. He's saying Nervecell with 4 horns.
Awesome. I'm really bad with just if I see someone by face, I'll probably remember them, but I can't really see the chat right now. On my laptop, I can't see it. So because
I mean, you can do it, but if you can keep the phone on silent, as in like
Yeah, I tried and it was a disaster. So fuck that. It's not gonna happen. You're gonna have to refresh me.
Yes, I have my eye on the comments. I
don't mean to ignore anyone, but I mean, I'd love to say hi to each and every one of them and acknowledge their time hanging out with you and me.
Yeah, tonight. Man, dude, it's my pleasure to have you on board, man. Seriously, I was really like, I even told you this off air. I'm like, man, Barney said yes to me. I'm like, fuck yeah, I gonna fucking, like, it's gonna be one of these fun sessions that I can, like, I've never, like, the way we're gonna talk, we talked, but this is gonna be different. Like, I'm digging down into the whole Nervecell story and what you guys been to, like the whole tourings and what was the difficulties to find the tour or getting an agent and all this crap, As a band member from this region, how hard was it for you guys to do it? So we're gonna be talking about all these topics. So this is why I'm so excited for this session, bro. And
oh man, it's great, man. I never got to say this to you, but like, I think it's really cool what you are doing with something like this. I know Adnan's doing his thing as well. So I gotta give credit to you guys, man, because the scene is a circus right now. It's crazy. I don't even know what's going on. I mean, we went from weekend after weekend of gigs to once a month gigs. Exactly. To no venues, which meant once every 3 months a gig. And then we had the pandemic kick in, and it's like,
yeah, it took a toll on everything. Man? Yeah, it took a toll on everything, man.
So I mean, if this is the new normal, it's great that we're all like showing each other that we're alive, and we're still around. But I would hate to play live over a fucking computer screen tomorrow if that's going to be the new normal. Like, I would probably I probably would not do it, because that's not fun for me, man. I mean, being there, playing live on stage is so essential to being a musician, in my opinion, and I literally live for that, man. I love it. I just there's anyone in the band in Nervecell, if there's one thing they'd say about me, is that I would fucking play anywhere and everywhere, man. And sometimes Rami and James would pull me back and be like, yeah, but you know what? We're not that same band anymore. It was like, in my heart, man, I am that same guy. But sometimes when you reach a level of success, you kind of have to maintain that plateau of where you are. Exactly. And I just kind of like look over those things sometimes. I'm still a kid at heart, man. I love touring. I love it with every aspect of what it gives and does to you as a person. The trials, the tribulations, the struggles, and that time when you're on stage and you're connecting with all these people in all over the world, in any corner of the world we've gone and been lucky enough to play to, is no salary can compensate that, man. For me, like that feeling of actually being there and knowing that someone actually took the time to check your band out, flew you down, accommodated you, get you some catering, a 3-star hotel to sleep in at night, and like fly you back out. It's like, are you kidding me? Like, dude, this is stuff I wrote in my bedroom where I'm talking to you from, and now we're getting to do all these things. It was like
exactly
super cool, man. I've still not let that fly over me, man. I always sit down and think about how we started, and when none of this was the plan. It's just it's such an amazing feeling, looking back and knowing our mindset back then, and having to trace back where we reached with all of that. You know, just keeping it real, man, keeping it honest, and you know, getting all these achievements that came with it. Being a Dubai-based band, important to mention, which is unheard of. You know, like, I mean, we're talking early 2000s, man. Like, we were always a local band for the longest time. I mean, we were always we never played out of Dubai for the first 7 years. Yeah.
So that's actually a good segue to what I was about to ask you. The thing is, like, you know, as you said, like you started in early 2000s. So can you give us like a recap of how the scene was back then, and you know, throughout that time until now, what happened? Did we like moved ahead, or like, you know, did we improve, or we just stayed the same, or what happened? Like, you know, can you give us like a recap? Like, how was it in your days?
When we Nervecell started out?
Yeah, I mean,
Like
the
in
time
2000?
that you were active, like,
Yeah.
you know, when you guys started, how was the scene back then? And if you can do a comparison
Oh.
with like
Yeah.
nowadays.
Well, everyone was a lot younger, for sure. I mean, there was definitely no one in their 30s.
Yeah,
Sure.
exactly. Yes.
I mean, I mean, we're talking about 98 when I first started being a part of the scene, and there was a scene in like 90, I would say 97, 96 was when there were one or two bands. Like, I'm just specifically talking about metal bands here. There was a band called Anthology. I don't think anyone heard of them. Well, especially today. Maybe a few names I can count in one hand, man. There was a band called Anthology, and they were like a thrash metal band, playing a lot of Metallica, Testament. Kieran was sometime in that band. I remember they had a really fat drummer. I think his name was called Terry or something, or Tenny. Anyway, so these were all underground gigs, man, like for the longest time. And then there was like there was a band from Abu Dhabi called Illuminatus, who were like a doom gothic sort of band. Well, really good bands though, eh? Like, unfortunately, they didn't really release any material, so we can't really show for it. But like, then there was a board, which was like a death metal band here.
Yeah, Surge's band, yeah.
Yeah.
And Rami Lekis was in the band as well.
Wasn't it too, right? And then there was like Eskimo Disco and stuff. So these were like the first 4 or 5 names that I remember were metal bands and were playing original music. And you would have to really know people to get access to the gigs that they were playing, because it was really dingy, dark, small bars, man. Like, it was like, you know how you have these communities we have all across Dubai, and they have like these party halls in the villas.
Yeah, it's like the ballrooms.
Ballrooms in hotels, gigs like that. Like, it was kind of like there was no internet, man. So you would have to really physically have cross paths with these guys to know that they're playing a show. And it was like kind of like street team ethics, you know, like you would have to pick up the phone and someone would have to text you and say, hey, there's this gig. Let's get in a taxi and tell them where you want to go. And it was like really secretive in a way, because, you know, there was no paperwork and shit. There was like, it was all fun and games, man. And then I remember this first show I went to locally was a gig in the Folklore Theater in Hamria. Now, if I say Hamria, people, they wouldn't even know there's a place called Hamria in Dubai. You know what I mean? That's how far back this goes, man.
Yeah.
And it was like an amphitheater, like almost, and it was crazy, man. There's so many bands, dude, back then. But
Like,
metal was always
like the scene was active, as in like there were like people, there were audience.
Absolutely. Oh hell yeah, man! You have no idea. I don't think you were in there too, right? Around that time.
No, I was like around borderline 2004ish. I think like Human Chaos.
Okay, yeah, that's
EP.
Yeah, that was when things started to pick up, and that's when Desert Rock started, and it brought a lot more attention to metal and it being something here of relevance. But before that, the scene back then in the early 2000s and the late 90s, like I was saying.
I think someone rang your door, bro.
Yeah, it's not important. We're doing an interview.
Cool.
What I'm saying is, so the kids would show up, man. Like I said, there was no one more than 30 years old. So this was all like high school kids, right? And they would show up, especially from Abu Dhabi. I remember Abu Dhabi, man. I got to give credit. Those kids would come in like fucking bus full of people, man. Like I'm talking, you know, like 4 buses, and there's like at least 15 to 20 kids coming out of each bus.
Damn,
and they would
man.
they would hire these buses to, you know, get them there and then pick them back to go back to Abu Dhabi 6 hours later. So they had to pay for those buses to come and do the run from Abu Dhabi to Dubai. So we as Dubai bands would like love when we would have a show and see 4 buses from Abu Dhabi just pull up outside the hotel ballroom and like rock out with like Slayer shirts, half of them with like pints in their pockets and like you know, all the things you do as a kid, man. It's awesome. It was such a cool vibe. But yeah, there was so many more people in attendance, and again, there was a lot of that would have to contribute to the fact that there was probably no rules as there are now, as we have. But one thing I definitely would comment on is that the attitude, man, the attitude of the fans and the bands back then was way different. The way you would treat each other.
As it was like they were like much more friendly, like the band members
oh yeah, a lot more friendly, a lot more open-minded, a lot more eagerness to play the next show. You know, shake hands, change numbers, call out bands for the next show. Let's do the show together.
So there was no. Yeah, sorry to cut you off. There was there was nothing like this. Oh, your band is punk. I'm a death metal dude. I'm not showing up to you.
No, absolutely not. No, man, none of that shit. It was like, I remember this because I remember when Nervecell was trying to do our own shows in ballrooms. You know, and the best part about this, I laugh at it because it's so true. And anyone who was from the scene from back then will tell you this. We knew when we were booking shows that it would be the first and last show in this ballroom. So go all in and have as much fun as you want because you're not going to come back here again. They're probably not going to be happy to have another gig because we would have to go up there and talk to these hotel managers and say, hey man, we want to have a birthday party. Party. Cool. What's your capacity? We're like 400. And then he's like, oh, it's a high school show party? I said, yeah. And we're going to have live entertainment. And it's like, okay, yeah. And this guy just wanted to convince his higher boss that he was doing his job and filling up the venues of his ballroom, which is what his job consisted of him to do. So we were like, yeah, it's a birthday party and we'll play some songs and it'll be fun. And what's your rent for the ballroom for one night for 5-6 hours? And he's like, oh yeah, whatever, 3,000, 4,000. Well, okay, cool. So let's book it in. And then we would go there and we would have like 5 bands come in the afternoon, sound check. The gig would happen, mosh pits, and like, you know.
Yeah, man, I remember Nashwan Hall days, man, and Anasa Lejaran. That place was, that venue was very accommodating for like metal gigs. It was like
well, that's more for aesthetically. That's more for a venue, you know. But ballrooms, man, like you're talking about carpets and shit.
Exactly,
like,
you need to like
chandeliers and shit, like, you know, it's like.
We've been there, man. We played a lot of all ages gigs and stuff like this.
That flew in. That kind of transcended into the 2000s, early 2000s as well. When AKB was around too. You guys know we did the ballroom thing as much as we could push it, you know.
Exactly.
And then the licensing started. But before I drift away, like the scene back then, like I said, the main difference was the attitude with the bands, man. The bands were actually fucking genuinely like into it. They weren't thinking about how many followers they had or how many fans they have or merchandise or anything. They were just so diehard that they wanted to play and meet more like-minded people because it was such a niche thing back then in the late 90s and early 2000s when you to collect people who were into the alternative rock metal genre.
Exactly.
And like bands would, like I said, bands would pick up the phone and call you even if you're playing like punk with the thrash metal guys or the death metal guys or the black metal guys or the hardcore guys or even like pop punk, pop rock bands we would all come together and we would build these stages in these ballrooms I was talking about and we would all play on it like 4 hours later. And it was a great time, man. It was a great time. Everyone got along. Everyone did.
But I mean, comparing it to nowadays, what do you see that really fucking it up or like improving it? What is the points?
I mean, I don't know what fucked it up. I mean, I think people got greedy, man, and I say that on all levels. I think they saw that there was a lot of this happening. There was a huge following. they saw hotels or people in the entertainment industry saw that they could make money out of this. So they started passing rules to make it mandatory that you need to have permissions, and which is fine. I get it, because I used to do shows as well, and I just think they overpriced it from the very start, way too much. Like, they didn't really look into it in great detail to see where, these guys are just they're not business owners. They're just regular dudes with jobs trying to have a gig. So they started basically charging everyone this one flat fee, which is quite ridiculous. I mean, that's what killed a lot of the local promoters from doing this, because then you have to pull out this pile of money, and obviously when you do that, you have to charge tickets that you never charged before, those price ranges. So what would be like $50 a gig to watch 5 to 7 bands would now have to be 100 straight up, and that's $100 for a guy who doesn't have a job as a gig goer is a lot of money for 7 local bands, So I think what happened is we lost a lot of the morale of metalheads, just because gigs just stopped, out of nowhere. And when you don't have access to a lot of gigs, you tend to get caught up in other things, like you find a girlfriend, you go clubbing, you stop playing video games, you start playing golf. I don't know, fucking
golf.
Yeah. People start doing weird things then, man. They just lose the interest. But when that happened, we had Desert Rock that kicked off. It was like out of nowhere, we had this big festival, which was very overwhelming for a lot of people. And then you would have the closet headbangers, the closet metalheads, I call them, because that's that once a year, one day in 365 days, they would come out with that Metallica shirt or that Pantera shirt. And then for the rest of the year, they'd be...
They're that 1%.
Yeah. It's that 1 week before Desert Rock, they'll study all the bands, of the discography of all the bands who come in, and then be like, yeah, man, fucking hell yeah, I'm so into this shit. And it's like, no, you're not, So it was like, there was a lot of pretending going on in the scene. I mean, although Desert Rock was amazing for us, it was amazing for us being in Dubai, because it was obviously called Dubai Desert Rock. It happened in our backyard. But with all the posers and all the fake dudes coming out, we also had the international Middle Eastern metal scene coming together in one hot pot. So there was a clear definition of time where you could see metal was now finally getting acknowledged and the appreciation in the Middle East, when it never did all these years up until 2005. I remember when Sepultura and Machine Head came here. It was so funny because these guys are coming to perform here, yet we had Tower Records and we had Virgin Megastores and all that, but but none of the albums were in the record stores. So there was a clear disconnect of like trial and error, and being a metalhead, I was born and raised in Dubai, man. I would go to record stores all the time and buy anything I see that looked even metal, like discreetly, even if it looked like it's a metal cover, I would buy it, and I would sorry to drift away, man. I'm just
it's good, man. I mean, dude, just feel free, because you're giving this like your side of the debate that, dude, most of us, we don't know about this. We seriously don't know. I mean, I had this conversation with Nadeem from he's like an ex-band member from Aneurysm, and he was telling me more details about the behind the curtain, as a once you become that brand, that the demand becomes much more higher, even for yourself as a band member, as a person in that company. Let's call it a company. It is a business anyways. You keep like raising the bar for yourself, and with that raising the bar, the demand from the fans come in, or there will be like more rules and regulations being like made on the spot. So it's very good that you're actually giving an insight about this whole things, because you were there back then and you are here right now, so you've been on the both sides of the story. So that's great that I'm hearing all this. I'm sure everyone,
I think the main difference, to just put an end to that comparative between the old scene and the new scene, is that we had the same amount of enthusiasm, I would say, but I think today, because as things change, we have a lot more bands actually releasing material. So actually, putting out albums and stuff. Whereas back then we had a shitload of bands, but none of them really put anything out. And I think that's where Nervecell really changed things a bit, and the principles of being a band here changed, because I remember we were like one of the first bands in the scene to even have a website for starters.
Yes, I remember. Yes,
we took the initiative to do that, and then the whole putting out an EP was actually a fan thought of idea, because we were playing these shows every other month between Abu Dhabi and Dubai, essentially, and a lot of the local kids in the scene would come up to us after the show and say, "Hey man, you gotta put something out, man. I'm going off to university next year. I want to show my friends there back home what the metal scene here is about. And you guys it would be great if I can take a copy of Nervecell or something, an EP or something." That kind of put it in our heads to, maybe well, people are asking for it, so and then I sat down with Rami and James and like decided when we're going to do this, and we had about 5 originals, so we said, well, we only have enough material to put an EP out anyway. And then in 2003, with that lineup, I mean, the whole 5-piece lineup changed from 2000 to 2002, so that lineup changed, and Rami and James came in around 2003, and that's when this lineup that you see and know as Nervecell today really stuck. Because I was working with guys like Rami and James, who came in and added this extra fuel to the fire that I had to play metal music, man. And you could see the seriousness was in all of us, and we connected at to a level where I never experienced before, and that's why I laid my heart out and told them I want to do this right. And if we're gonna write music, we're gonna really sit down and spend weekends after weekends to turn these skeleton ideas into an actual product, and
so it was that mutual decision that you guys were gonna take it seriously, and because there was demand from the scene itself, and that was the main key factor for you guys to push it as much as you could, and until now you've been.
Sorry, go ahead, man.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm trying to say that it's a good thing that you guys kept doing it, because you guys gave a lot of motivation, like for example to me, to pursue music. I mean, I didn't do it as in like in your caliber, but it was that push. I know Barney, I know James, they're like friend of mine, and they did it, so what, I will try it, and it was fun. Because of you guys like you gave us that motive to go ahead. So many bands I know in Dubai that they look up to Nervecell as, because we can look back and we say, dude, we have a band that is well known internationally. They played a lot of gigs, Nervecell and stuff like this. Look, they have like this, they have discography and stuff like this. It's not about being like a show off, but you have something to present. And the good thing is that I know you on a personal level, and that's like the cherry on top, bro. That makes it so good.
Yeah, you're very kind. Thank you.
I just want to jump into the comments just real quick before you just hold to your thought. We got Mark Legaspi in the house. He's saying, yo, dirty pleasures of life. Thank you very much, man, for tuning in. Thank you very much. And he's tagging he's tagging Michael from Soundwash.
Oh, hell yeah,
Soundwash.
Yeah, Soundwash, one of those initial bands that I should have mentioned, actually.
You guys played a lot of times with Soundwash.
Oh yeah. Because a lot of that had to do. Well, you want to finish the comments and then we'll talk about it maybe.
So Junaid is saying is Sharjah represent a gig in Hamria, and then Ahmed Mahmoud is saying Leisureland, the cult. What is this KVLT? Is it the cult or
Cavalt?
What? Cavalt.
Yeah.
I never knew that word. The Cavalt was alive over there. And
for some reason they spell it off all fucked up, because I guess it makes them feel like they're medieval or something. I don't know. Whatever.
And someone tagged the www.nervecell.net.
Oh hell yeah! Who did that?
I think is Motassim.
That would have to be someone old school. Yeah, that was our website, man.
Yeah.
I mean, we paid for that domain and everything. But that's one of the things, man. Like, that's one of the things we did as Nervecell. We actually thought this all through. We didn't just act on impulse. We actually said, if we're gonna do this, write and record an EP and talk about touring and all this, what sounds good in theory, in principle, like then we had to really put our mouths where, where we were talking, with everything we were talking about. We had to really, the thing is, we always sat down and talked about everything we decided to do as a band. It wasn't like, oh, let's just do this and be spontaneous. No, never. Right from the start, we made it a point that we discuss and we share all the losses that come with it. But if anything, we go back home tomorrow to look back at something and say, hey man, that's what we were doing for the last few years. And we could show our friends and family 10 years from now and say, at that time in our lives, this is what we were investing our time in, and this is what we were doing. And we fucking loved the fuck out of it. We did that with everything we had. And I have to tell you, it was a huge learning lesson for all of us. No one was there to teach us anything. No one was there to tell us, even till today, to teach us the ropes, to say, this is what you have to do. Are you in a band? Okay, well, this is the first thing you got to do. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, there was no course to teach us about how to manage a band, how to do it right. It was all us initiating and us pushing, and really having that confidence and belief in yourself to do something where no one else from this region thought of doing. And that goes with releasing an EP, with putting out a website, staying in touch with fans, investing into merch, approaching promoters to tour. All of that, man.
Well, I mean, now you can see it, that it's like super fruitful, whatever you guys been sitting down and talking about, and all that managing and all that decision making, all that maybe you guys had fights in between and stuff like this, but now you see the fruit of it. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like, for you to look back at it, do you regret, or is there any regret? I'm sure there's no regret, but do you think that you could have made better decisions back then?
Well, I don't think so, man. I definitely don't have any regrets. I mean, a lot of the journey that I had with Nervecell has molded me to who I am today as a person, and my character and everything. Because there was no one there to teach me. I wouldn't have done it differently. I took a lot of chances and risks, a lot of risks. And until today, it's a fucking compromise, man. Till today, I can literally talk to you about at least 10 things on the side that I could be doing right now, that I'm just, to be honest, just putting it on hold or avoiding, because being in a band, and especially at the level we are at, and what we've done and what we have to sort of maintain, is no walk in the park. It's a lot of work. You lose sleep over it. You have a lot of emotional roller coasters all the time. And for all that I've invested into this, it just fucking makes no sense to look back, So it's like,
well, that's great. Yeah, that's great. And Mu'tasim is saying, yeah, I met Barney in Bergen MOE back in 2005, and he told me about the band and gave me the website to check them out. Not.com, .net.
.net, he's right.
Yeah, he's right.
Yeah. Well, what do I have to say about that? I mean, that's me at my natural habitat, man, in a record store, shopping for music, and meeting a guy with long hair and a goatee.
And you have and you have a big collection, man. You have a big collection of CDs and like VHSs and stuff like this.
I do, brother. I genuinely am a music fan. I'm a metalhead at heart, and I obviously love what I do. But as a musician, I'm constantly learning, and I just picked that up as a hobby, I love collecting albums. I love collecting CDs. I see a lot of value in it, and it's my way of supporting artists I actually like and listen to. It makes perfect sense. Like, if you like something that you're literally listening to and is a part of your life and journey as a person on earth, and you listen to music all the time, why don't you just fucking buy the album, you know?
Exactly,
I
man.
mean,
Even sometimes when I buy albums, I don't open them. I keep them in the original
wow.
seal and stuff. I still have your
Wow, okay.
preaching Venom album, man.
Is it open?
No,
What the fuck?
I don't open this shit, man. I mean, that's my habit. I have like, I'm sure you know
don't-
Moose,
okay.
yeah? You know Moose.
Oh yeah, Moose. I still, I remember Moose before Nervecell, man. I remember Moose before I started Nervecell. He was in Cambridge High School, and since then he was collecting CDs like me. So we go back way back. I used to bump into Moose in record stores, and then like the Dubai Shopping Festival. They used to have this the festivities in Ricker Street and Morakabad Street. They used to have these stalls like kiosks, and there was one every year. There was a kiosk with there was one random dude who would sell a lot of CDs, and he would sell them for like fucking 10, 20 dirhams, and you would find like Tool, and you would find like
he
Alice
had
in Chains.
everything. He had everything.
Yeah. So that was like finding gold for us, man. Like I would go there every week. The shopping festival lasted for a month, so every week he would, you know, revisit his stock and change stuff from the warehouse. I don't even know who this guy is. It was some dude, but he had a kiosk with just tons of CDs, man. But the key thing was he was selling it for dirt cheap. He was selling it for like half price, and they're all sealed copies and stuff. And we're like, dude, guys like us who were collectors since then, we would go and wait hours before that guy opened his stall and just see what the new stock is, man. And by the way, that was one of the ways you would meet metalheads back then, you know, because those who were in the know would stick around, you know.
Exactly, and that's a good segue. Akhilesh is asking a comment. Akhilesh, hold to that. I'll come back to it. And what you call it, Barney? Are you familiar with the game section in the show? I'm sure you're not.
Yeah, I mean, I think you briefed me a little bit on how what's gonna happen. But I actually I love it. I love that kind of stuff. So yeah, bring it on.
So okay, just a recap on the rules. I'll give you two answers, and you can choose any of them. And if you want to explain why you chose that answer, the camera angle is all yours. Good?
Yeah, I'll explain it. I mean, I won't be a arrogant prick and just choose an answer and say, hey, that's my one word answer. No way.
So you're good to go, yeah?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, let's hit it. So the first one is faster riffs or heavier riffs?
Okay.
You know, some people hate me because of these questions, you know. They're like,
no, I would never hate you. I would never hate you, man. That's a very good question. You can get very in-depth.
By the way, you know what? You take your time, think about the answer. I'll just let the guys know in the comments. You guys can join for this section and put your answers in the comment section. So let's have fun together and let's share ideas.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Yeah. So what was it? Faster riffs or heavier riffs?
Yes.
Well, I would say heavier because heavier riffs can incorporate faster riffs also. So I'm answering. So I'm playing it safe, I guess, right? Because I mean, that's my explanation,
right?
It
can happen. Yeah, it can happen.
I mean, there could be slow riffs, but are still heavier than the faster riffs. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Or am I being really geeky about this shit now?
Dude, you need to be geeky. I mean, you coming from that background, as in, like, you know, you write your own shit, so you understand this shit. So
yeah, no. I mean, I think it's a straightforward answer. I think it's heavier riffs because heavier riffs can be slow riffs too.
Exactly.
And faster riffs can sound like garbage sometimes. So, yeah.
So moving on, the second one: Ibanez guitars or ESPs?
Dude, obviously I'm gonna say ESP.
You've never been an Ibanez guy.
I actually was. So that's kind of cool that you maybe coincidentally asked me this.
No, I know. Dude, I know you inside out. I've seen you.
So you've seen me play an RG series Ibanez back in the day.
But once you got endorsed with the whole other brands and stuff like this. So
before endorsements were even in my frame of mind. Oh, great. There would have to be a fucking phone call right now.
Yeah. I mean, you can go for it, man. It's all cool.
No, it's cool, man. Yeah. Whatever.
No, it's done.
Yeah.
Ibanez guitars or ESPs?
Yeah. So the truth is, I used to use Ibanez before. I used to love their fretboards, man. They were like none like anything. I mean, very smooth.
Baritones, yeah.
Sorry?
There were baritones, the one you were using?
Just I think rosewood. I used to have an RG series, so I had two actually, and Rami too. Rami too used to play Ibanez. I mean,
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
just kind of
yeah.
like, what what we had access to really. You know, in Dubai there was not much of options, so it didn't have anything to do with like us idolizing a guitar player and what guitar he uses. Obviously, Ibanez to me, when you say it, it's always Korn and stuff. You know, those guys made the name, and you know, Steve Vai and Joe Satriani. But yeah, I used to be an RG player, Ibanez guitar. That was the one I played on. But as things got serious and as I got more, you know, into you know, music and became took things seriously, I just made the switch to ESP because I liked it. I got to experiment more. We started doing tours, and I started going to visiting more record stores internationally in Europe and stuff. And then I started having a preference with my guitars. You know, I switched to ESP with no plans to continue staying with them. I just went with the flow, and then maybe, you know, after playing ESP guitars for 10 years at least, I actually got endorsed by them, man, and that was really a surprise for me, man. I mean, I've been playing them religiously, but that was kind of like why they took me on board too. I would have to say it's because they saw the level of what you call dedication to the brand that I had. I stuck with them, you know, and that's very important. That's very important. So I think they saw my dedication to it, and like me, you know, like just doing the tours we did and always like pushing their logos everywhere we do, and then plugging it in with any magazines we talk to and everything. And then when I actually started approaching them, it took about 2 years for me to get my foot in the door, man. And fucking happened, dude.
Yeah.
And that's why I say like anyone, no matter what band you play and what style or genre, like if you really want to get an endorsement, you can. You just got to put in the work. And I think our work as Nervecell was, we let the music do the talking, and we let the tours do the talking, and we let our hard work and honest work for them to see. We left it on them. You know, I didn't really send press kits or anything, only when asked to. And then they were, you know, Rami got this Ibanez endorsement while on tour too.
No,
like
nice,
there was an Ibanez representative who saw us at the Summer Breeze Open Air in Germany. After our show, they came backstage, they started talking to us. I was still using ESP back then, so they just hooked him up with a deal there and then, man. They started talking, emails later, and then he got endorsed. And then a year or two later, I got with ESP because I was like, I didn't feel left out or anything. I was really happy for him because, you know, as Nervecell being affiliated with a brand like Ibanez is already a big thing. But I still stuck to ESP, man. My dedication to that brand, and I bought a few guitars, not just one. You know, and then Melody House, who were the distributors here for them, also put in a word for me because, you know, that's how it works with endorsements. They always reference their local retail store that they distribute to get some insight and do some research on the artist who's asking to get endorsed. And obviously Melody House, they know me, they know what Nervecell has been doing and everything.
Exactly. So, yeah. Shout out to Melody House.
Shout out to Maria and Dino and NMK Electronics too, and all of them, man. And they're a great brand.
And Vinit is mentioning everyone in Dubai starts off with an Ibanez.
He's right, yeah. Because you know, the people who are watching this podcast, is it a podcast or what is it?
It's a live stream podcast. You can call it whatever you want, man. It's just a chill conversation, man.
If there are any international people watching it, they need to understand that Dubai really doesn't have a lot of experience when it comes to even the people you go to the music stores here sometimes don't know what the hell they're selling. You know, this is back in the early 90s, early 2000s again.
Yeah,
so
there were like record stores back in the days. There were Megastar and there were other ones.
No, I'm talking about like music instruments.
Oh,
I'm talking about like music shops. Yeah.
Sorry, my
mistake.
mistake.
You know, like we had the Dara Fish Roundabout.
Exactly. Yes. They're still around.
Yeah, and they're still around, and they have Fun Al Soot, who are like the main
Ibanez dude. Yeah.
Yeah, and then so you know, we would have to just go with what's available. And then there was a guy up in Karama called Mozart, and a lot of the old school guys would know. And there was a guy, his name was Stan. He was such a weirdo, man. Like, And the thing is, he was a distributor for ESP guitars,
Mm-hmm.
and that's probably why I didn't buy an ESP guitar early on anyway. Because
Mm-hmm.
whenever you went to Mozart in Karama, it's like the guy is such a weirdo. He would just stare at you and he'd be like, "Hey man, what do you want to buy?" Like, can I play a fucking guitar first to know what I want to buy first? He was just like eyeball you down, and he'd be like, "You take a guitar before I would even try one." And he'd be like, "Check this out, Jimi Hendrix. Like, check this effect out, Zoom." And it's like, dude, I want my space. I'm trying to check out guitars, but he would have like 5 or 6 models, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
So what wasn't necessarily the best a distributor ESP could rely on in this country, but sooner or later there was more guys who came in the game, and then we had access to a lot more music stores, and then we could actually sit down and play without a salesman breathing over your neck.
Exactly, man. Exactly.
And then so sorry for that long answer, but ESP is it is.
Dude, you should not apologize at all. At all. Listen, now I'm the host, you're the guy who has the spotlight, so I'm just the guy who's just asking the questions, and you feel free to answer. So moving on, death or black metal?
Oh, death metal for sure.
You've never been into like black, as in like
oh yeah, I am, but there's exceptional bands that I would listen to in the black metal genre, because a lot of black metal bands got street credit, you know what I mean? Like, because they slaughtered an animal, or because they did something controversial, or because they burned some church, or attempted to, or because they're part of some cult. So that's the kind of attention I don't really buy, you know, like that's not what it is about for me. I judge the black metal bands I listen to purely on music. And for fuck's sake, it has to have some decent level of production, you know? And unfortunately, not a lot of black metal bands do it for me with the production side of things. I mean, it's just really crusty and raw. And don't get me wrong, some of that's cool, by the way, when done right. You know, if it can sound really awful, but it can sound really vintage, awesome too. You know, but I think a lot of the black metal bands, well, the established ones today, at least, were always good from the start. None of those bands sucked at any point. But I think people give black metal a lot of attention mainly because of it's more controversy related. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there is some concept behind it, and they like.
Yeah, there's always some angle to it, and like.
That whole cultish point of it and things like this.
Yeah, it's like, you know, I get it, but as a fan of music and as a listener, I don't judge without listening. You know, I always do my work as a listener to listen to.
And Sid is saying Stan couldn't let you try. Stan wouldn't let you try out guitars.
Yeah, because he's a fucking weirdo, man. That's it. His name was Stan. Oh man, you're so weird. I have so many Stan stories, man.
Stan stories. We should do an episode on that with Barney. Barney presenting Stan stories.
I mean, God bless him, man. I don't know if he's alive even now, but he was a legend actually. Because anyone who was in the scene from the '90s would know this guy.
Dude, we all knew. Dude, I went to Mozart, and it was like in the alleys, like in the back area, behind Karachi Darbar, and like I used to go there for the pedals, for the Boss pedals, because Mozart was the first one of the guys who were bringing in Boss pedals.
Zach Electronics were actually the Boss guys with the stomp boxes and stuff, but Mozart was more of a Zoom. He used to sell Zoom.
Sorry, Zoom. Zoom. That's my mistake. So moving on, next one is traveling and touring or recording and writing.
Well, in a professional world, you'd have to record something to tour on. So whether you like it or not, you'd have to get in the studio first before you could tour anyway. Because no one's just going to book you because you have a Facebook page, you know?
But there is a lot of internet bands, you know?
There are a lot, but they probably stepped in the studio to tour on that album, you know, to be able to even get a tour. They would have to tour in support of the album that they recorded. I don't want to say you're asking the wrong question.
No.
I think my answer would be, if I had to choose, would definitely be touring for sure.
My question, I know it would have started like, you know, it's gonna be confusing. The thing is that, you know, because I've seen bands that they choose to write, and I knew few of my friends that like they were not even into playing local gigs. They were like, you know what, we just want to write and present it online and get that, that underground feel. Like, yeah, we are the shit.
Oh yeah. Okay, I get what you're saying. You're
Yeah.
right. There's a lot of bands who are happy just recording music for themselves and being studio bands. Yes, absolutely. There are a lot of bands like that. Sure. Yeah, but for me, if you put it in
Yes. Yeah. Obviously,
Oh,
for you
yeah.
is to obviously you need to have the product in hand so you can market the shit out of it. Obviously, man.
You're right. So sorry, man. I mean, yeah.
No,
Then
man.
I would say touring for sure, because that's where it is, man. That's where the party is. You know.
Exactly.
You are meeting people from all walks of life, and you're playing your music to a bunch of people, which you gain traction from, and it's one of the highest highs you'll ever experience in your life. So it doesn't matter if there's 10 to 100 to 1,000 people, man. It's playing live is something else. Like for me, when I treat every gig I play like it's the last show on earth. I really do that. I mean, I don't know when the last show will be for me. And when I get the opportunity to get on the stage and play, I fucking go at it, man. I don't hold back, because I know as a fan of music myself, if I paid for a ticket and I'm gonna watch this band that is presumably I want to be entertained as a guy who goes to this gig, I want to make sure that the artist on stage is really delivering their art to me. It could be soul, it could be jazz, it could be death metal, but it's a presentation that goes hand in hand with being an artist. And I think that's the best way to present your art or music from a stage standpoint. So I love the tour, and touring itself is another world, man. It's something every band I say should do.
So moving on, I mean, a lot of people are gonna hate me for this. You might hate me for this as well, but Limp Bizkit or Deftones?
Wow. I don't hate you. Let me clarify that first. Well, it's a really different bands, eh?
Exactly.
I mean, when they first came out, too, from the first Deftones album called Adrenaline, and Limp Bizkit put out $3 Bill, y'all. Like, different bands, man. So I was there when those bands broke out, man. I was well into metal music when they came out, and a lot of people would shit on new metal, especially the extreme metal guys, but
yeah,
I wouldn't do that. I mean, I knew the impact those bands had onto fans getting into metal music, younger kids, who eventually then became extreme metal fans. So you can't be hypocritical about this shit. Like you gotta give credit where it's due and accept the fact that bands like Limp Bizkit and Deftones and Linkin Park and all those other bands in the early 2000s really converted a lot of potential metal fans in general on the broader spectrum of things. So their impact really made these kids, first of all, get into music, specifically metal, even though it was new metal. And then those kids picked up instruments and discovered Slipknot and then Morbid Angel, and then it just went fucking crazy for them. Some of these kids are now in metal bands, but they were influenced by some of the bands you mentioned, like Deftones and Limp Bizkit. Now, for me, being a guy into extreme metal in the early 2000s when those bands broke and pretty much took over extreme metal, by the way. When Limp Bizkit came out and shit, I remember Nuki on TV so much, was overplayed to death.
Yes.
And Deftones were not big, by the way. Deftones came out with Adrenaline and didn't really blow up. They only got somewhere when Around the Fur came out.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
2 years later. So
I think they broke in with the whole with the White Pony album. They really became.
Oh, that was like well into their career. Yeah. Digital Batman. What a fucking killer song.
Yes, man.
Yeah. I bought that shit when it came out the first day, man, when White Pony came out. No, but like, I think if I have to choose, like today, if you ask me, again, both those bands are incredible, but I would say, fuck.
I mean, if you can't choose, you can say both, man. There's nothing wrong with it.
I personally, I like Deftones. I relate with them more because they always were a darker band.
Exactly.
They had way more. They were way more expressive in terms of emotions and shit. Whereas Limp Bizkit was just that fucking trending band. They were always like trending, but in a very big way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they were like crossing boundaries between, you know, hip hop and metal.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I wasn't one to catch on trends just because it's the hottest shit right now. I don't care for that thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, you knew about it and you knew their impact and you respect that. But like Deftones for me, and again with my musical background and being into metal, well into metal at that point anyway,
Mm-hmm.
I would relate more with Deftones, I would say, because right from that first track, man, Bored on Adrenaline,
man,
it's fucking heavy, dude. It's fucking heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And then you hear Chino Marino's voice, and it's like, this is weird. And then they get into it, and it's like, fuck. It opens up like a whole big rainbow of
Yeah,
of
it's just
sound.
like, yeah, each one of them brings something to the table that complements the music in general. It's just,
Yeah,
I mean,
but-
I know, I completely agree with you. Like, it's just a bad comparison between Limp Bizkit and Deftones because each one of them
No,
is doing
it's right.
something different.
Yeah.
So moving
Yeah.
on
No,
with
it's great. I would go with Deftones only because as a musician,
Mhm.
I liked what they were doing when they came out. Right from the start, they were always real weird and like a little eerie, whereas Limp Bizkit was way more trendy and fashionable. You know.
Mhm.
So again, for me, like I said with my black metal answer, it's all about what I hear 1st.
Mhm.
You know, I don't care about the image and the hip and trendy shit so much.
Mhm. So moving on, gent or prog?
Oh, Prague for sure.
Next one, playing tipsy on stage or no?
Well, for death metal, I wouldn't chance it. I need to focus on what I'm playing.
Oh,
So that's my personal take on it. Like, I wouldn't even try, because
Yeah.
if anyone who's watching this and you know, if you know what Nervecell's music's about,
hmm yeah, you guys are.
I
Like, yeah.
I would never piss on my
Jeopardize
own
it, yeah.
art, man. The fans they want to watch it and want to see us play it, so I wouldn't cheat any
Mhm.
of them. I love being tipsy and at gigs. I mean, if you see me at the shows, I'm probably always having a good buzz on,
Yeah.
but not when I'm playing. No way. Maybe after the show. Well, I would say definitely after the show, but not before the show. Not playing live unless it's Desert Experiment.
Mhm, yeah, this experiment is fun. So I
And
got.
that's all Goggins' fault. Anyway.
Yeah.
He wants us to be having a good time.
Yeah, shout out to Gorgon as well and the guys in the house.
I love that guy. Yeah.
Uh,
in fact, I just wanted to say, since we're talking about Desert Experiment and Goggin, the reason why I play Desert Experiment
mhm.
and why I specifically opt to not play metal is because I can get on stage a little tipsy, because I cannot fucking do that with Nervecell shows for sure.
Yeah.
You know. But I say that with no disrespect. I say that because I can play something more chilled out at Desert Experiment,
Mhm.
like the Alice in Chains or Nine Inch Nails or whatever, that
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have done before. Like you were there.
Yeah,
so, like, Desert
you and
Experiment
Vin
stuff
were
too.
playing it as well.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So for me, that's a fun time. That's a party on stage.
Mm,
But with Nervecell stuff, it's just not possible. I mean, it probably is, but fuck, I would never chance it, man.
exactly.
I don't think I'm that much of a, you know,
Yeah,
I have that much
obviously,
of a
yeah.
great
You
balance.
will not take the risk to fuck up the
No,
show
yeah, I
just for the
wouldn't.
sake of just being a little bit tipsy. So this one's gonna be the last one for this section, but we're gonna come back to rest
Okay,
of
buddy.
them later.
Yeah, man.
Corn or System of a Down?
Korn or System of a Down? Holy shit, this is harder than the Deftones Limp Bizkit one.
You know why I chose these questions? Because I know you dig this type of questions. And by the way, the comments are like piling up, and they're asking a lot of questions.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
We'll get
So,
to that, man. Korn or who now? I
System
forgot.
of a Down.
Korn- yeah, how can you even put those two and say choose one?
Dude, it's Dirty's brain, man. It's me, man.
Okay, you know what? I'll be honest with you. I'm gonna go with Korn, because, and I have a very distinctive memory of this. In 1994, man,
hmm
Machine Head came out with "Burn My Eyes." okay?
Exactly. Yeah.
Album, pretty much fucking did it for me. That was like a huge album for me. Probably it's till today it's in the top 5 for me.
hmm
Now, I was watching Headbangers Ball. Davidian was on, and then this new band, Korn, is up next, and the host of MTV Headbangers Ball said, "Oh, this is some new band coming out, and they dropped this new self-titled record, and this is their video called Blind." And when that came on, I was like, "Dude, what the fuck is this? This is awesome!"
Yeah.
I was like, and keep in mind, I was into thrash and death metal,
Mhm.
but I still fucking connected with what Korn did in their debut album, big time, because it was different, but in a very good way. So System of a Down, I think I would not go with them for now because I remember them coming later and doing it in a very good way too. But Korn was hugely impactful, man. The low tune guitars, the 7 strings, the stage appearance, the Jonathan Davis. I mean, his whole thing on the lyrics.
The whole charisma they have.
Yeah, wearing his heart on his sleeve with his lyrics and shit. Like, fuck, that was deep shit, man. And that first record they put out, man, it's wow, what a contender, man. Like, it was like,
exactly.
It was hard not to notice that band. In 94, 95, it was very hard not to say you never heard of Korn, even though you were anti Adidas or whatever, man. Those kids, man, they were young back then, man. So was I. I mean, obviously I was discovering music, but man, I remember when they came out because Korn had a huge impact on me too. I mean, just because of how different they were, man. They were different, and you got to give credit to someone who stands out, man. Like, they stood out, image-wise, lyric-wise, guitar tone-wise, Fieldy and his bass playing.
Yeah,
like,
man, very, very, very percussive, and like, you know, they had a different vibe. And let's move to the comments. Akilish is saying, do you teach guitars? And I'm sure you do teach guitars now.
Oh yeah, I do actually. Who's asking that?
Akilish, the guy who.
Yeah, I do, man. I do. I teach. It's something I picked up out of pure sitting around doing nothing with my life, and then Ryan, who's a good friend of mine, some of you may know him, Ryan Nerona, came on to me and said, "Hey, man." Yeah, we're business partners today, but like, we own the same license and stuff. But he came up to me and he said, "Listen, dude, I can see what you're going through." And it was this whole transitional stage in my life, man. I was just waiting around for the next tour or the next gig for Nervecell, because that's what we did, man. There was a time in our lives where we just waited for things to happen. I mean, we had some opportunities, we did those things, and then we were waiting for the next big thing. And that downtime really killed me, man, like financially and stuff, because I was just, paying out bills, not earning anything. And Ryan was like, "Man, you gotta listen, you gotta teach. You don't have to do anything. It's in you. Just go teach." And I do read music. I can read music. I can teach how to read and theory and stuff. It's not just practical playing. For all the music schools that are out there, Trinity, Rock School, all that stuff. So he actually gave my number to someone without even telling me. And he's like, "Someone's gonna call you, man, for their kids to learn guitar." I was like, "Dude, I don't know if I'm ready for this." He's like, "Do it. You get some money." And I was like, "Fuck, okay." Because he's my business partner. I got to pay him money for my side of the business to renew our license and stuff. Because I left my job and I wanted to be independent and be my own boss and do my own thing. And I was running out of cash, and he gave my number without my permission. And then from that moment on, man, one class led to 5 classes to 20 classes. The next year is like, and I just started teaching that. It just became something that I didn't realize I had it in me. You need a lot of patience.
Yeah, man.
A lot of patience.
And Serge is asking.
I do teach, yeah.
Yeah, that's good, man. Serge is asking, Barney, what word would you use to describe Rami's rig?
Oh wow, yeah.
By the way, Gorgon is in the house as well. He's saying miss playing with you, Barney, and he's saying fuck LFC. I don't know what the fuck's that.
Who's saying fuck? I think LFC means Liverpool, the football team.
Gorgon is saying that.
Yeah, it would never be Serge because I know he's a big Liverpool fan, and they won.
Yeah.
Congratulations to all Liverpool fans. They won the league.
So Rami's rig. He's saying in one word, if you can describe Rami's rig.
Okay, wait. Troublesome.
Why? Is it wired and stuff? Is it like so many things going on?
I could think of many words, but
choose one
always
word.
Changing. It's one word is troublesome because it's that's all I can say. It's fucking troublesome. 2 words, I know, but troublesome, it would be very on the ball with that because it's never the same fucking thing. Every year, man, he keeps adding shit to it, and he keeps changing his stuff around, and we are 5 minutes to starting the show. The intro is rolling, and we got no signal, and that shit pisses me the fuck off. Because if you see my setup, in terms of gear, fucking straightforward, man. And if something does go wrong, I have another effects pedal that has a distortion in it that would do the job and pull the show off in maximum 2 minutes. So
just a backup
Rami
plan.
He literally has about 7 options at one given moment, but he sticks to the first one and he will work on the first one only. 20 minutes in, he would then decide to, we'll try this other option. And I just don't know why, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to shit on him. He's a great guitarist. There's a reason why he's in Nervecell. There's a reason why me and him are still, you know, the core writers of the band. I love the guy. He, as a guitar player to play with, and as one of the core members in Nervecell too, we connect musically very, very well. We complement each other a lot.
But
he needs to let go. He needs to let go of his gear shit. Like just fucking everyone needs to let go of all this crazy shit that they've been.
Fucking Serge is asking Barney, in bed with Rami or James?
You know what? Let's give Serge a break for the questions, all right? Because he knows where he's going with this shit. He knows he's lived with us. He's toured with us. He knows the dark stories.
So you know what? You know what? Sorry to cut you off. Let's get into the whole touring aspect. I mean, sorry, the whole touring topic of Nervecell. Like, give us a rundown. Like, how was it to get the first gig ever, like abroad, and what was the difficulties that you guys you faced in the early days, and was it worth it or was it too much hassle? Just give us a rundown. How was it?
How was the first tour we did? Like the first, how did it all go down?
Okay. Like, you know, how was the first, like, okay, you guys obviously had an initial plan, and then obviously the first time that you approached an agent, there were other problems coming along with it, yeah? Correct me if I'm wrong. So just give us a rundown. How did it go? And
so really, man, we were on MySpace when we first started touring. So, you know, we had an email contact, and people would write to us. I mean, at that point, we just had one album out, and people would write to us inquiring for what our rates were and what our requirements were in order to come out to countries overseas to play. So in 2007, we did our first international tour in Australia, which is really weird because, you know, there's bands who've been around for years and have not played Australia. But here we are, and that's the beauty of the internet, man. They found us somehow. We got invited to play a festival called Metal Stock in Adelaide, in somewhere in New South Wales, Australia. And I was back and forth with the promoter saying, look, man, it's like we don't have all this money that we can fly ourselves down there. You know, I mean, thanks for the opportunity, thanks for the offer, because there was an offer. I mean, it was a paid gig, but to get to Australia is a 14-hour flight. So, then they were like, you know what? We'll make it work, man. We'll get you 7 to 8 shows. And then over the course of 7 to 8 shows, with the fee we put for you guys, we can probably cover your flight somehow or the other. And I was like, great. If you could do that, you know, it'll be a big help. So, and dude, you know, like I said, we had no booking agent or we had nobody to help me do all of that. I had to literally learn how this all works by myself, bro. So yeah, man, I mean, that's something I did. I learned the ropes. Every single show I played, even in the local gigs, man, every single show I did internationally, and when we traveled, I had to really, it was self-taught, you know. We walked those grounds, we shook hands backstage, you network, you go to the merch table after you play, you shake some hands with fans, you take pictures, and you make contacts that way. So we literally, as Nervecell, built our database by ourselves, you know. No help, man, no help whatsoever. If there was anything that we had, we were lucky with, it was probably being at the right place at the right time as a Middle Eastern-based, Dubai-based band, and the internet breaking out and people just being curious. I think the Human Chaos EP really did its job for us, because when we released that in 2004, there was not much of a product based music, original music from the Middle East coming out,
Exactly.
or that
Yes.
were out
Yes.
already.
Yes.
So when we put the album out, man, like the EP came out, we said, let's just do what we need to do. I buy all these magazines, and I used to read a lot of Metal Hammer and Kerrang, and I used to see reviews all the time, and that's how I used to discover bands.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to read a lot of webzines and what have you. I used to know all the bands who are on this particular label and all the other bands on that other particular label. So I said, you know what? We have a product here, man. We released an EP. I'm gonna go out to the local Emirates post office, and I'm gonna get the address from all these websites and webzines and CD review guys and record labels, and just do our bit, man. Just like approach them with the intention of hopefully getting something positive back, a good review, maybe some label interest, maybe a booking agent. And it's not rocket science, we are a band. We take ourselves seriously. We put out some product that we've invested time in. So let's just see let's get judged by the real world, the guys who are doing this full time as a profession.
Just one question. I mean, sorry if I'm cutting you off. For bands that they're starting now, let's say that if they want to get into the whole touring business side of the being in a band, how hard is it to start? Is it hard, or is it like different since your time back in the days? Or is there any other ways to approach these things these days?
You're talking about for newer bands?
For like any band right now, if they want to start touring, let's say from this region, how hard would it be?
Man, that's a technical question. It's actually surprisingly not hard at all. I mean, you know what the key word being there is? If you have money, you can get around. And it's for me. I'm really passionate about this shit. So I don't believe in that, because that's not how it should be. There's a lot of bands out there, lots of bands out there. It's saturated as fuck. But the ones that actually stick out, some way or the other, if they're doing it right, they will be discovered and they will get the opportunities they deserve. But there's a lot of shit fucking bands out there that have a lot of money and buy their way into the industry. So if you're a new band, take whatever I just said how you want, because what you're going to get from me is the truth and only the truth. I know a lot of bands who have literally just paid their way to getting signed, to getting those tours, to getting even fucking press. Like, that's not the school I came from, man, because I worked for my shit. Like, I, being the core member in Nervecell, put in the work. We put in the work, and we didn't have any expectations for anyone to help us any one day off this journey. Never.
So you mean with money they can cut corners? If you have the cash, you can cut corners into the bigger leagues?
I mean, when I was shopping for Past, Present, Torture, the last Nervecell record, when I was hitting up labels, I had like 2 record labels, and mind you, not some fucking shitty bedroom underground label. Pretty known fucking labels, man, pitching back to my email saying, hey man, we love the band and we know about Nervecell, but would you be able to put in this amount of cash up front, and then we sign you and we market you guys and do it all right? I was like, fuck no. Why would I do that? If I had that money, I would start my own fucking label. It's common sense. I wouldn't fucking go to you, and it's just disrespectful, man. It's sad that the industry's come to that stage today where labels ask bands to pay them just to have the prestige of saying they're with this label and affiliate their band name with this label. Because 10 years ago, the CDs they own or the bands they listen to were on that label. So yeah, we have money. Forget about our music, whether they like it or not, but they're agreeing to sign us. We just have to pay them to get on their roster. That's a shitty way of looking at life as a musician. But there are bands who have done that. What they did with it after they signed would speak for itself, and their success rate and all that. But a lot of the new bands get offers like that, and those who have money sometimes give in. And the thing is, with us being a Dubai-based band, and any band based in Dubai, a lot of these guys look at that as a money-making opportunity. If they see Dubai and they hear, oh, Dubai-based band, they think the fucking Burj Khalifa, they think the Palm Islands, and they're like, oh, we can milk these guys. Not us, motherfuckers. We're smart, educated dudes. We've been touring and doing this shit on our own expense way before you could make us fall for this crap.
Yeah, people, they have a different perception of people living in Dubai, as in, like, yeah, as you said, like, we're just like shitting money. We're not shitting money. They cannot see it this way. But then when they come abroad,
go ahead.
Yeah, when they come when they come here and they suffer for a bit, and then they realize what we're going through. Like, I completely agree with you, man. I completely agree with you that you get a different treatment.
So to tell you the truth, I feel sorry for a lot of the new bands, man, because I was there when Nervecell broke out and we started releasing music and putting out albums and stuff. The record industry and the music industry in general still had some good ethics and morals, man. They were still signing bands based on what they put out. Booking agents were not the dominating factor in the formula, whereas they are today. You know, a booking agent can literally get you exposure overnight if you get with them. But then the thing is, to get even the attention of the booking agent, you need to be tied in with to some level a decent record label, because they don't want to work with unsigned bands.
So you need to have you need to have your connections, like, well
strategized.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of guys who come out here and say, oh yeah, you don't need a record label. Yeah, sure, okay, cool. Yeah, what are you gonna do? You're gonna fund your own albums for the rest of your life? You're gonna fund your own tours? Financially, it makes zero sense. Because the truth is, you do need a record label to give you physical distribution, to promote you, to put you in those magazines. I mean, the thing is, like, I'm only going to talk from my experience. The newer bands today, what I'm saying is, they have this option now. Okay, it's literally an option. You can be on the glossiest magazine you want. You just pay someone to do that for you. There's PR companies today that make a living and pay salaries to their staff based off bands who have not played a gig in their entire life, who don't even have a fucking album recorded. What do they have? A bunch of songs and some money, and they want to get famous, and they want to show their girlfriends that they got a page in Metal Hammer, or they're on this compilation from the next Kerrang magazine compilation. Like, that's all paid for. Nobody cares after that. Someone got paid, and it doesn't matter after that. There's no longevity. So that's what I'm saying. I'm kind of pissed off about how things have changed in the span of 10 years. You know, record labels would sign you. Record labels had in-house PR that would get you the CD reviews, the album reviews, that would get you the interviews. Booking agents would book you based on your hard work, that you put in the hard work. You did 3 years of touring on your own expense. You know, booking agents would go out to shows and watch you come out the next year and draw a bigger audience, and then say, okay, you know what, these guys are worth the shot. Now, a booking agent would give you a buy on slot offer, and bands would take it, and that's how you get the fucking tour.
And Serge is asking last question for me. Actually, it's a good question it's a good segue to whatever I want to ask you. Is like, best drummer you toured with.
Oh man, that's.
I mean, I still remember chilling with you guys when Louis Rando was on board with you guys.
Louis from Australia, man.
Yeah, we were chilling in a Burger King in Media City after the gig. I was like, fuck, man, that guy is hilarious. He's like funny as fuck, man.
Louis is awesome. He's so old school, man. He's awesome. He's still young at heart. I love that guy. The only reason we stopped working with Louis was because it was way too expensive to fly him down for everything we did. Because when we were going out to Europe, you know, the guy's coming out from Australia here in the midway point where we are in Dubai, and then we go out to Europe. So for him, even after the tour, bringing him back to Dubai to go back to Australia, logistically and financially didn't make sense. I mean, we were eating up money from our own income that Rami, James, and I would make as the co-members, just to get Louis to even be with us in the first place to do the rehearsals in Dubai. So it didn't make sense. But the reason we went with Louis was because, again, that goes back to our first tour we did when we went to Australia. We met Louis because his band, The Fure, were opening for us on all those 7 or 8 shows we did in Australia in 2007. And that's when we got along with Louis really well. And then he became the drummer in Nervecell for a while. And that's the thing with drummers for me. Like we've worked with some amazingly good drummers, man. Lots, 7, 8 drummers. All of them have done great things in their own respective bands. And for me, it's not about pulling out names and using that to benefit or get us some more attention. It's all about chemistry for me, man. I can never work with someone who I don't, really genuinely get along with. They have to be on the same wavelength as us, as people, and easy to deal with. And I always work with friends. I like to call them. I don't like calling them sessionists, because that's a bullshit way to approach someone who's playing your music and who's as passionate as you are for the music you have written. They are always friends first. And I can't choose a favorite drummer because every one of the drummers we had, I have to be nothing but grateful for them to take the time to come on board for a band from the Middle East and represent us like they are, they're with us, and we wouldn't be able to do it without any live drummers. And unfortunately, we've never had a permanent drummer in Nervecell ever.
I know that. And I mean, again, but at least you guys had the you guys had the opportunity to go on tour with a lot of good drummers, and each one of them brought their taste to the table, and it was amazing. Each one of them were freaking great. They pulled off the show, and it gave that Nervecell experience to the fan base and to whoever is watching. It was always really engaging with the audience.
I mean, see, that's another thing that we did as Nervecell differently. We never compromised, man. We never compromised. Like in the early days, I couldn't play death metal because the guys in the band, the drummer or whoever, the singer, couldn't really do what I wanted to do as a guitar player playing death metal or extreme metal. So it was kind of like working with what you got. But then after we released albums and after our songs were on record, you can't go on stage and play something that doesn't sound like that record. I'm totally against that. So what we did is we said, fuck it. If this is going to be more expensive for us, it's fine. We'll take the hit, because again, being a fan and from a fan perspective, I wouldn't want to disappoint anyone. If they like what they heard from a Nervecell song on a record, they come out to the shows and they pay money for the shows.
They need to experience it.
They need to get what they paid for.
Exactly.
So, we started to stop with it was like zero tolerance towards compromising on our songs. If we wrote those songs, we got to deliver those songs the way they were written for the live scenario too. So we would get drummers from Australia, we would get drummers from Europe, we would get drummers from the UK all the time. It's crazy, man. But all that said, nothing stopped us ever. We still kept going, man.
And Ahmed Mohammed is asking about the Middle Eastern black metal bands that you heard of, and also any Middle Eastern black metal bands you know?
Yeah. Well, of course, yeah. I mean, there was Mahmoud's black metal band, a side project with his brother.
I was never aware of that. I know about Perversion.
They're death metal.
Yeah.
But Azeroth, and then there's I'll start with the Dubai bands first. Then Nephilim were another band.
Yeah, but they're now Canadian, in Canada, yeah.
Yeah, but they're ending shit now. They're just there. Alex and Alan. Alan played in Nervecell for a while too. Who was a drummer.
Mahmoud was part of Nephilim as well, yeah.
Yeah, he was too. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. But yeah, they went to Canada, but I'm pretty sure they're not doing anything. But yeah, that's from what I know from the Dubai scene. There was another black metal band in Abu Dhabi. Well, these guys, Rippon's band. I can't pronounce it because it's so fucking complicated.
Svet Reptilia.
Yeah. But no disrespect. I mean, I just can't pronounce that band name. I know Savio.
Svet Reptilia.
Yeah. Savio in that band. Rippon, I know him as a drummer.
Ashraf.
Good friend.
Yeah, Ashraf.
I think he's a Sri Lankan guy, right?
Yeah. No, I think he's Malayalam. I don't know. I'm not sure. And God bless his soul, Shams was in that band as well.
Yeah, Shams was in that band too. Rest in peace, man.
Rest in peace, man.
Yeah, dude. I mean, and then there's Smoldering and Forgotten in Bahrain. Really good band.
I think there was a
Bahrain too.
band from Saudi, but there was like an affiliation between Saudi and UAE. They called Namrud, if you know about them.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
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 dude. Yeah.
yeah.
There's a black metal band in Doha, Qatar. Um, I can't remember the name, but I
Man,
know
it's
the guy.
surprisingly that this black metal movement, it's here. I mean, with all this
Yeah.
preserved society that we think we live in, but you still find these hidden gems as like black metal bands exist.
Dude, this is funny. Serge is still in the conversation. I pitched to Serge, but now I'm going to give it away. I pitched to Serge, and this may be a joke, but a lot of bands found success starting off as a joke band. Like I just found the black metal scene hilarious, and I think if done right, it can work. Like just basically us going on stage with abayas, it's scary enough. Imagine us wearing abayas, like, okay, so nobody knows who the fuck we are. Like even in the scene, people won't know who we are.
Man,
So
that would fucking break so many cycles. It's not even funny, man.
Yeah, but the idea is not to expose. Not even if you're on the audience, I don't want you to know it's me behind that. Like, and I told Serge, let's do it, man. Let's Serge is into black metal a lot.
Yeah.
More than me at least. And I told him, let's do it. Like I'll play because I love shredding shit, man. And some of the black metal stuff is fucking cool. Like you can shred for days, man. Just the shrilling, the strings, just the single notes that go on forever and ever.
For me, black metal has a very symphonic touch into it that
Sure.
that makes it nice, but for me, as like I've never got into black metal that much.
It's emphasis on a lot of ambient and atmosphere, man. It's a lot of unlike death metal, it's just fucking groove and brutality, whereas black metal has a lot to do with atmosphere and ambience and stuff like that. So it's cool. I mean, with Nervecell, I'm kind of restricted with what I can write because I know the fans want a special formula. But I'm always open to. I want to do something like that, where it's like it's maybe a gimmick thing to do, but like it's also secretive in a way, which doesn't make me have to go on record and do anything like promo wise for it. It just speaks for itself and has that mystique value. I like that idea. So maybe we could do something like that. And I was joking around with Serge a few times.
But Serge is agreeing to you right now. He's like, let's. He's saying Batushka style. Let's do it, Barney. I mean, don't tell anyone.
Yeah, there you go. You see, so we'll have to find some curtains to hide behind and then discuss this shit. But honestly, on a serious level, I've always been open to the idea of even playing in a band, like just a regular hard rock band, man, like just rocking out. The kind of stuff like Alice in Chains and like Live. Have you heard of a band called Live? Or like Seven Dust and shit? Like just
I know Seven Dust, man. Fucking old school, fucking great band.
That first album is insane, man.
Yeah, man.
Just like good hard rock music. Serious, but like good shit. Where I could be a little tipsy and play for it.
Yeah. So moving on to, can you give us like, let's say top 2 favorite gigs that you played abroad?
Okay.
Or like favorite moments. You know what? Let's just generalize the whole thing. Like because you guys played with you guys opened for Metallica, DSI, Suffocation, and Morbid Angel. So maybe there was a fun moment for you. If you can give us like 2 highlights.
The one highlight for sure is the Suffocation tour we did. I mean, keep in mind we were influenced by these guys, right? It's like, they were the nicest guys, man. And it's when you least expect it. We literally lived with them for 30 days on a nightliner bar. So for those who don't know, a nightliner is a lounge, a mini kitchen, and then there's a staircase upstairs, and there's like 18 bunk beds on the top.
There's like a
and
tour
that's
bus.
Home.
Something like
it is a tour bus. Yeah, it's called a nightliner because that's your accommodation while on tour. So we lived with Suffocation in that atmosphere, and we did a whole run of the UK and Europe for a whole month. I think we played like 28 shows back to back in the span of 30 days. And so we're literally eating on the same tables for lunches and dinners, playing on the same stages, packing up gear together, everything. The whole month was, and after the tour was over, it's a big party back in the bus again. because we're in the lounge and everyone's gonna have at least a few drinks before they go up to the bunk and sleep. And we talk about the whole day, how the show went, and like getting to know how we all got into metal, our favorite bands, and what do we like to do apart from music. And it was like hanging out with your idols, man, every day. You can imagine it's a non-stop party.
And I saw the pictures that you guys were chilling with the what's his name, Glenn Benton. Yeah, Glenn Benton from DSI.
Yeah, DSI. Yeah.
And James was saying that the guy is like super funny, and you guys were like, you know.
Yeah, man. So that's the thing, man. Like I've been fortunate enough to like meet all these bands who I was a fan of and listened to and who have influenced me, and then you're face to face with them and you're giving them your stories about being a band, discovering their band in Dubai, which they've never been to or heard of or thought they had fans in. So it's camaraderie like on another level, bro, because they appreciate us as fans and as the band who's supporting them on their tours, being headliners. And you make friends after that, and it's nothing can compare to that feeling when you're doing it at that level. You know, those were some serious highs. I mean, I remember when we did the Metallica show. We did that show on October 25th. I will never forget that date because of how huge it was.
Exactly.
And then
the
very next month we were on tour with Morbid Angel for the whole of November through December. Like 5 weeks going from November right into December with Morbid Angel. So Morbid Angel, to those who don't know, are like the Metallica in the death metal scene. You know, so imagine that high we were buzzing off, like back to back, man. Like Metallica, and then 2 weeks off, 1 month and a half on the road with Morbid Angel through Europe and UK again. So we had fans we made before in these past tours who were coming out wearing our merch from those tours, and I know all the shit because I've personally met pretty much all the fans as much as I could possibly interact with them when we finish our shows, and just see that turnout of Nervecell fans increase in Europe is such a cool thing. So we were on a roll, man.
So basically,
and
you don't have a specific highlight that you can like, you know.
I will say the best tour we did was with the Suffocation guys, because they were such nice guys, you know, in the death metal world. And they're New Yorkers, you know, they don't give a fuck. They're like us. They walk out of the house and there's like multinational people everywhere in New York City, like us in Dubai. So we and them really connected, and they treated us well. You know, there's a lot of bands who don't treat their opening acts very well, and that's why they are icons to us and influencers. B, they were really nice human beings. You know, Mike Smith, Frank, Terrence, Guy, Derek. That was a Suffocation lineup. Anyone who knows Suffocation would kill to be on with, because now there's a completely different lineup, with the exception of Terrence, who's the original guitarist. But it was an honor for us, man. We have tons of tour diary footage from that tour that we are waiting to put out one day when we get to DVD. Now no one watches DVDs anymore, but we put out a home video compiling all of this shit one day, man.
You know what? It's a good section that we go back to the game thing. Let's do a couple of more, and then we're gonna wrap up the show with just like few news about what Nervecell is up to, and the album past and present and Torture. So you're good to go for the game section?
Love it. Let's do it.
So the first one is Nile or Cannibal Corpse?
Cannibal Corpse.
Metallica.
Even though Carl Sanders did his thing with us. But
which is a phenomenal track, man. I mean, I love the whole idea of the whole Arabic vocals. I love collaborations. I just feel that, you know, it brings more it's that hidden that wow factor, because I could see something special, like, you know, Nervecell had that wow factor, and Carl Sanders from Nile, fuck, man, it's just a beautiful song. And the whole video being shot, and like, you know, the ambient was just giving it that extra touch, that extra spice. It was just amazing, man. Fucking kudos to whoever.
I'm glad you felt that, man. Thank you very much.
And the next one is Metallica or Megadeth?
Oh,
Take
I
it
should have
as
seen
a,
this
take it
coming.
as a guitar
Should
player.
have seen this coming.
Take it
As a
as
guitar player?
as
As a guitar player, it's Megadeth, man. As a guitar player, it's Megadeth for sure.
Yeah, I could
I
see
mean,
that you go
Yeah,
there.
you made my life a lot easier by saying that.
Yeah, because I know it's one of these questions is like, it's just hard to answer.
Well, Dave Mustaine, whatever you call him, whatever you think of him, he's next level as a guitar player.
Mhm.
Very unique in his style, and the guys he hires in his band, Chris Broderick and then Marty Friedman, like fuck, man, great guitar players.
Mhm.
Each to their own, man. Great guitar players. I mean, Metallica is Metallica. They're the epitome of what anyone asks you.
Exactly.
I want to listen to metal tomorrow. Like, what can you recommend? Everyone would throw the Black Album at them, because it has
Exactly,
everything. The ballad, and it has
The
fucking
heaviness, they
Wolf
had
and
everything, yeah.
yeah, man, all the heavy shit too. So
So the next one
Yeah.
it's not a tricky one, but I just want to take your I want to see what I know what's your answer, but think of it as a musician that got into this whole loop of doing this. Love of the crowd or the glamour of touring.
love of the crowd.
As in that connection that you have with the crowd, that energy that the crowd gives you in return.
Yeah.
Or the glamour of touring, just it by
No,
itself.
there's for sure love of the crowd, man.
I knew you would go for that.
And I need to elaborate because
Sure, man.
I don't know what your idea of glamour of touring is, but I'll tell you fucking this. There is no glamour in touring if you really want to get to the nitty-gritty details and the dirt of touring.
Maybe I
It
just met the wrong
anything.
people, man. I just met the
No,
wrong
no,
people.
maybe I'll tell you what it is, buddy. You're not alone. A lot of people think that.
Mhm.
It's crazy what people think touring is. They are delusioned because they have no idea unless you've done it. Now, if you've done it, you would have to an extent what it is, even if you've done it at the very smallest level, because a lot can go wrong. A lot can go wrong at any time, anywhere, and you're stranded in a place you don't even know the language of. So just with that one sentence I just gave you, put yourself in that scenario and think how fucked up it could be and how fucked up it
Exactly,
could
man. Dude, but without
You
even
know?
mentioning it, I can understand that there is a lot of
Yeah.
difficulties
So-
into it as well.
I mean, everyone sees the tour diaries and the promo posters and all that, and then that does look glamorous. I thought so too, and that's why I say every band needs to tour.
But once you dive into it, it's just a different story.
Yeah, and let me say this too, not to be cocky about it. Touring is not meant for everyone. It definitely is. Be it health conditions, be it patience, be it whatever, be it like disciplined, it's not meant for everyone, dude. Hygiene wise.
Yeah, that's why Serge is saying 7 fatty people in one tiny room.
Yeah, I've been there. I know what he's talking about.
Yeah. So moving on, Tool or Meshuggah? Man, I think you're gonna unfriend me and don't talk to me after this session, man.
No, they're actually cool questions. But the thing is, man,
Imagine,
think-
okay, take it this way. Imagine you're going to the gym.
yeah, okay.
If you want to do a workout that is gonna take a huge ass fucking toll on you, would you go with Tool or Meshuggah to give you that
No,
extra boost?
Dude, listen to this. I'll tell you this. The reason why I'm not even worried about what people think my answers are. By the way, I'm worried
Obviously,
about
man.
myself having to live with it because when I own all these artists' albums, man, and I dive into it in terms of artwork, in terms of subliminal messaging, in terms of creativity, in terms of progression from one album to the other. So I look at them like stories, and I relate my life to when I discovered these bands and that particular album and how much of an impact it had on me for me to answer you. So for now I'm going to say Tool, and I know Serge is going to fucking comment really soon when he heard this answer because I know he's a diehard Meshuggah fan. Now the thing is,
But he's a Tool guy as well. He's a Tool guy. I've seen him singing Tool with me while I was playing it in Desert Experiment.
Tool is a movement, okay? Tool is they are
a cult.
a political party.
Yeah,
of some
yeah,
sort.
they are a
You know.
cult, man. Once you're,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a huge ass Tool head, and
Now, I'll be very honest with you. Both bands are fucking independently amazing. But
exactly,
here's
yeah.
the sad part, man. I haven't seen either of them live. In all my years of touring, I've not seen Meshuggah live or Tool, and both bands are known for
Exactly,
their live
yes.
show and what they bring to the table. Now, if I see them, whatever,
Hopefully,
my
you guys gonna share the stage with them, man.
yeah, and then I would probably boil it down to that because there's a lot of talk about you have to see Tool live. There's a lot of talk about Meshuggah live is like a trance. I get it. I know it because I can only imagine. I've not seen that, so I would have to boil it down to that. To when I see Tool live one day and Meshuggah live another day, and then I would say, based on that criteria, I would say because I'm big into the live aspect as an artist and a musician.
Do you know what
performer.
Serge is saying? He's telling me, "Fuck you." I would unfriend Ahmed for this question.
Yeah, no, but I think I would go with Tool because very very different, man. Very
I mean,
Yeah,
again,
I
it's
don't know.
one of these questions. I mean, sorry if I'm like throwing all these like
The thing is,
random
as a
ass.
guitar, no, it's cool, bro. It's cool. As a guitar player, Meshuggah are fucking up there. Very unique. But as a metal fan, I would say Tool because of what they did in the scene.
And moving on, again, just give us in a nutshell, just like maybe if it's a one word, band fights or no? Are you up for band fights or no?
No, I mean, it's unavoidable. If I can avoid them as much as possible, yeah. Yeah, I'm. Band fights happen for stupid reasons sometimes, you know. It's like my say is important for this hour, but in the long run, when you open your mind to thinking what that guy was criticizing you for as a bandmate, it probably makes sense in the long term. So once you have that clearly defined, then people start getting apologetic and realize. So I've and you've been in the band, you know
Exactly,
how
yeah,
stupid
yeah.
some band fights could be over. So I would say avoid it as much as possible. But yeah, I would rather take the route of no band fight because then everyone can be happy and get along.
The next one is because you guys all like played twice with them. Sepultura with Max or with Derek?
Dude, what do you think? This is the
Max.
most obvious question you've asked me today.
Max.
Oh yeah, of course with Max, 100% with Max.
Like you
I
don't
mean-
feel that energy with Derek?
Fuck no, I don't care what people think. I was a Sepultura fan since a while, and I know the fucking difference. Yeah, Cavalera brothers, bro.
Yes.
I mean, come on, man. What are you talking about? Although, I do give respect to Andreas Kisser. He was there also from the very beginning. But if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, man. It's just there's no comparison. That question you asked is such a talked about debate till today in the metal world. And 99.9% of the time, you will get the answer I gave you. Because even though Derek Green has been in Sepultura longer than Max Cavalera at this point, by the way, he still is not Sepultura, man, to me. I mean, if you got into Sepultura, why did everyone get into Sepultura? Was it a Derek Green record? I highly fucking doubt
I
it.
think it was because of the whole Roots movement, man.
Well, Chaos
Roots,
AD too,
yeah,
man.
Chaos
If you're like me, it fucking desperate
talking
cry
about,
changed my life.
like you're talking about
Arise.
Morbid Vision album and stuff like this,
No,
man?
Arise, man. 1986, man. Like, not earlier than that. Schizophrenia, Beneath the Remains. Like, fuck.
Yeah.
Those are great records, man. And they stand the test of time in the thrash metal genre. And Derek Green, I mean, I'll say he's maybe good at what he does, but I just don't see him doing justice to the way Max used to fucking bring it live to the Sepultura era, man.
But Serge is saying, I agree, but Derek has great energy on stage.
In his own right. In his own right.
Yeah, I mean, maybe
got
that's
better.
maybe that's the only thing that he's bringing to the table. Even for me, I would prefer Max Cavalera over. I mean, dude, I was so disappointed that you know what? I saw Sepultura when you guys opened for them and Derek was there. I'm like, what? I was like, I knew Sepultura with the whole roots and like Chaos AD songs and stuff like this, but once I did, I'm
Yeah.
like, what the fuck, man? I was here for
Well,
Max
let me also
Cavalera.
tell you this, man. Let me also tell you this. Max Cavalera, never met the guy in my life.
Mm,
Hopefully, I will one day.
hopefully, man.
Doesn't owe us shit as a Middle East-based band called Nervecell. Doesn't owe us shit. He's Max Cavalera. He's like a godfather in metal, right?
Exactly.
Dude is playing Nervecell songs on his radio, on his
Are you fucking kidding me? Seriously?
Yeah, he is, man. Sirius Radio. Have you heard of that? He has a
No.
show on Sirius Radio, man, in the States, and he plays Nation's Plague like every month, once a month.
Fuck, man, that's amazing, man.
I know this because people in the States hit us up on Nervecell's social media and says, I came here because of Max Cavalera. I'm like, I started to see this more often, and I was like, what is he doing? And they're like, he has his radio show and he keeps plugging you guys in. I've never met the guy, man. This is Max Cavalera, dude. This is not some fucking Tom, Dick, and Harry.
Yeah. He's like one of the fucking.
He's like Arise live in Barcelona Under Siege, that DVD when it came out, and I saw them do what they do at their peak. Fucking made me get into this. Made me get into playing metal. And then there's this guy who doesn't even know or is personally never communicated with us, figures out who Nervecell are because he goes on the internet and literally digs into discovering bands like at this age.
Exactly.
And then plugs us in, man. And then you have bands who pay for PR. Like, fuck off, man. That's how genuine metalheads are. You know, that's how you should.
That's a fucking great news, man. That's fucking
Yeah,
great,
and then
man.
he name dropped us a couple of times in an interview he did with Metal Hammer. Someone asked him, a journalist asked him, like, what are the bands you've been listening to lately? And straight up, man, Nervecell, like the first name. This band from the Middle East, Nervecell, and then he named like a Demonic Resurrection from India, and then he said that on a video interview too. Like Nervecell, dude, he just mentioned the name. Like, what are you still digging it? Are you still listening to metal in the underground scene? And he's like, yeah. In fact, me and the guys in the band are quite influenced by the underground metal scene, and I'm always searching up bands. I don't have Facebook or Instagram, but I always use the internet to search up underground bands, and there's this killer band called Nervecell, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Pinching myself to see if this is real.
Mu'tasim is saying that he also saw a picture of Max Cavalera wearing a Nervecell t-shirt.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, man, that's
man.
fucking great news, man. I mean, I
Dude,
don't.
it's
like,
not great news. It's like, it's the shit that keeps me fucking awake at night.
Yes,
like,
that gives you the extra motive, man. That's the extra rush.
So when you have these guys in the local scene and otherwise who come out and talk big game and say, yeah, man, we're putting out this record, or this band sucks, or they're not doing it right, and giving you their expert 2 cents. It's like, come on, man. What have you done? Where is your credibility to talk shit about another band? You haven't even got out of the fucking Middle East. You haven't played a stage apart from Music Room, and you're talking shit about others. Like, they have no idea, bro. There's so many bands out there that have no idea what it's like. And you see someone like Max Cavalera, someone who's done shit at that caliber, giving credit to bands he has never even met. Is like, it shows you how passionate.
On that topic, because you were like you did help bands to tour and you managed few bands. Like the second one is picking or signing an artist depend on their material or their business ethics.
Both, man. You can have
both of them. There are main elements in this business.
Hand in hand, man. You can have great music, but if you don't have the ethics of how you want to work that and take the time to learn, because you need to learn, man. You don't know everything. A successful band today, and as always has been, is really a formula. It comes down to a formula of percentages. It's music, 50%. If anything, I would say even 40%. And it's hard for me to tell you that. But the other 50 or even 60% is the team behind that pushes your music. That's what it is. Well, it's the management, it's the agent, it's the publicist that actually puts the work behind the music.
Okay, what about like go ahead for it. Sorry.
No, go ahead, man.
I'm thinking of it as, okay, let's take it this way. if a band wants to market themselves online, okay, would
Yep.
they need a push from their friends or like some specific circle of connections
I mean, that helps. Yeah, of course it does.
that
It
helps?
does help.
Like,
The more people that get involved, yeah,
can you do it without that and just like
you
solely do
can.
it by yourself? Like, because you guys did it, and I'm just asking your input. Do you do
I
you
mean,
do you suggest
I,
them to do it by themselves or finding
I,
connections?
I'll only say what I know and what I've experienced with Nervecell. Because when we were breaking out from the Middle East scene internationally, we did it at a time when no one else was doing it. So that already gave us an upper hand, because they couldn't reference any other bands. I mean, there were bands in other parts of the region, obviously, who did it, but they didn't take the initiative to push it.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say push it, I mean even sending your CD out to a label.
They
Maybe
didn't
they
go
didn't
the
feel
extra
confident
mile.
enough.
They didn't do
Maybe
the
they
extra
didn't feel
mile.
confident enough. Maybe they didn't think they had the potential. Maybe they didn't want to even see themselves as a band who was going to be asked to tour. They just were happy with what they accomplished, and they wanted to stick around playing the corner gigs every now and then in their cities or towns.
Mm-hmm.
We put the album out and said, we want to be criticized by the real world, by the German magazines, by the record labels in Europe, by the webzines that we follow and read and learn about new artists ourselves. We wanted to be up there and see where we stand to be criticized. Not on fried.com, because that's where a lot of shit talking goes on. We wanted to go and get criticized by the people who are of relevance and matter.
Who understand this shit? It's not like bunch of
because it's completely unbiased. Then they don't know us, but they're gonna discuss our art and our music in an unbiased form, and that's what touring also does to you. It makes you play to a completely unbiased audience who don't know you but are coming to take the chance to check your band out, and that's how you win fans over, because automatically you get that respect with the fact that you took that step, which a lot of bands don't do. So yes, you can be an independent. You can be an independent band and do it yourself. Of course you can. I just touched on that a little bit before. If your music is strong enough, it will reach volumes of people, man. Because the music is always going to do that first and foremost. And you just need to hit up maybe a good publicist, I guess. Probably, unfortunately, it sucks. You may have to pay for it. But if your music is good, it will take you to the next stage. Once you're in the press and you get people's, turning
attention,
heads, and their attention, and then the music will transpose you to that next stage.
And even
then you get it. People will start recommending because they like it. They'll share it naturally.
Exactly. And Serge tagged us in he commented a video from metalsocks.net. Max Cavalera calls for unity, and he said it's the second video.
That's one of the videos he name dropped Nervecell. Yeah. It's Metal Sucks is an American journalist media company. Yeah.
So going back to Nervecell, what is your favorite album so far?
From the Nervecell discography?
Yes.
Oh man, this is so cliche because I'm going to drop the latest one, because I feel as a writer, I feel that's some of our best compositions. Keeping in mind extreme metal, and keeping in mind maturity in writing, and keeping in mind the effort that went into that album in comparison to the last two we did before. That was the first Nervecell record where I wrote songs from start to finish. And in Preaching Venom and Psychogenocide and Human Chaos, Rami, I, and James would always write together. Always. We would sit down, the three of us, face to face, and write together and merge riffs and concepts and ideas. But Past, Present, Torture, because we were all geographically, one's in Qatar, one's in Dubai. And to speeden up the recording process and the skeleton writing, the demoing and stuff, we said let's just take the task of writing songs individually, and if there's changes that are needed, we'd trim up a few parts and complement each other with sharing ideas. But for some reason it worked out that way, and I wrote 4 songs from start to finish. Rami wrote 4 songs, and then there was 2 songs that we wrote collectively as a band, which became a 13-track album, because then we started writing like interludes and stuff and playing around with a little bit of drones and ambiences in the background.
I love the intro to Past, Present, Torture, man. I love the intro. It's
Okay, here's a
freaking
cool story
awesome.
about that. That all the guitar parts that you hear for the ambience building
Yeah, the
in that
swells and
intro
everything. Yeah.
was written in like 6 hours, five
Damn.
to 6 hours, on the spot because we needed an intro. But we felt we needed an intro when we had like 10 songs recorded for the album already, and we had 3 more left. We're like, we need an intro for the album now because now we know what the album sounds like. So all those emotions and feelings that you get when you have these 10 songs as a body now, you want to introduce the listener to it because we know what's there to come.
Yeah.
So then we wrote that in Haven Studios and Hattie's studio
Yeah. Shout
on
out
the
to
spot.
Hadi, man.
Hattie Saradine, man.
Yeah, man.
We on the spot picked up an acoustic guitar, then worked on the electric guitar bits, and we wrote that on the spot. One day, Rami and I, Rami sat down for about one session on the guitar, and then I took my session for another 2 hours and did my bit, and then we merged them together and said, let's work with that.
Man, that intro gives me a very primitive feel, as in
Yeah,
like, you know,
that's what
to
we're going for.
expect what it's gonna come, and
Right, and
everything
then-
else is just very back to back. It really latches to the concept of the album,
Right.
and with the name.
Thank you. Yeah. And by that point, we already knew what the artwork looked like. So we were kind of like writing with that vision in mind too.
That's great, man. That's great. That's a good thing to wrap up to wrap up this session. Is there any upcoming news or what's in stores for like fans of Nervecell? I mean, let's talk
yeah.
2021 or any.
I was gonna say the key word being 2021, post 2021.
Yeah, exactly. Well, obviously, you guys have something like maybe you're writing or something, or you want to give like snippets of whatever you guys are up to.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I'm writing. I'm writing. I'm writing a lot of stuff that probably won't go on the next Nervecell record. But that's because I'm expressing my music ideas, not for a solo project or anything. That's never gonna happen. I mean, I don't plan on. But I'm just because I'm writing stuff that I don't think is Nervecell related. But I've also written a few riffs here and there for the new. I mean, what potentially will be Nervecell songs.
So it's a mix. It's like a mixed bag.
Yeah. At this point, to be honest, like I'll just touch on this as lightly as I can. We decided very early in 2020 that we're going to take the entire year off. This is before. Well, actually, it was in 2019 going to 2020 because James has been out of the scene for a while. So out of respect to that, we're gonna take a break as a band, stay out of the limelight for a bit, and I think that's a good thing. I think every band, when you reach a certain level, you need to give your fans some breathing space so they can discover whatever else is out there. Have fun with all of that, forget about us for a bit. We're okay with that, because when we come back, we're making statements again. We're not coming back
The
with
impact
some
would be the impact would be there.
Yes. I mean, as a fan myself, I like that. I like to stay away for a while and then come back with something that's gonna fucking wake the neighborhood up, So we're taking this downtime, especially because we need to give each other space. There's some personal stuff going on with some of the members, and we got to honor that, and we're respectfully going about that, doing it. But that gives us a lot of time, and this is all before coronavirus even became a thing.
Yes.
This is something we decided as a band internally, that it's time we just some of us need to work on things, and some of us have to get our priorities in place. So I really hope we're reaching the half of 2020 now. I really hope by the end of this year we will have an update with respect to what Nervecell fans can get a snippet of what we're up to and what we have upcoming for them. And that does go hand in hand with new material, and probably the earliest tour we can would be next year. I mean, because tour planning takes at least 5 to 6 months of planning. And that involves us in a very special situation, because we're based in the Middle East, and some of the guys in the band don't have passports that work very well when you want to do tours. You need to plan well in advance to get all the necessary paperwork and all the necessary supporting documents and all the negotiations for that tour to happen which happens from my laptop I'm talking to you on right now. And that's a lot of work, bro. A lot of bands,
Exactly, man.
a lot of people don't know that shit. And, there's a lot of bands sitting down in the Western States and Europe who just, oh, we got an tour offer, and that's great, and they do it. For us, research department. You go to we have research and analysis and thinking about time frames and how long is it going to go for, how long do we have to apply for the visa for, when's the first gig, where's the last gig, where's the last gig, where's the first gig, because we have to apply for visas for some of the guys, and that shit takes a toll on you, man. Mm-hmm. It takes it's a real tedious job, and trust me, unless there's people out there who've done it, they'll know what I'm talking about. And that very point itself, the amount of work that goes in for a band like us based in the Middle East and all the documentation and paperwork involved, the amount of work just to do that before you even get on the tour would make bands break up. Exactly, I'm telling you, it's no walk in the park, man.
It's a very...
And there's financial constraints, there's commitments, there's relationships you got to hold together, there's compromises on every fucking level, man.
And that's crazy.
For some reason, we've been fortunate enough to hold it together and just keep the focal point to do this because we fucking love it. Mm-hmm. That's it. There's no way around it. There's no way any sane person would do this to themselves. Go through all that shit for what? To say you went and played a show on the stage somewhere in fucking, I don't know, Poland, Italy, Netherlands. That's great. But we know why we're doing this because we fucking love this shit. Like, I wake up every day with fire up my ass, like waiting to open my inbox and see that next email. Like right now, I got 2 interviews in my inbox that I got to do. And that's what I'm saying. Like, you put in the work, man. I spend about 2 to 3 hours every day with Nervecell. Mm-hmm. So whether it's doing merch inventory, whether it's sending out merch, whether it's replying back to emails, whether it's doing things like this with you, it's full time, and I'm neck deep into it, man. It's like,
man,
the fans can wait.
You have to.
Yeah, the fans can wait because we got things planned. We just gotta wait for the entire world and the scenario to just calm the fuck down. And I'd love to play a Dubai show again. It's been ages. I think the last show we did was with Sepultura in the Hard Rock.
Yeah, 2018.
Yeah, it was a rough one because we didn't get even the entire stage to play. But being Sepultura, we did it, and we did it without James too, because it's a home show. And I realized in Dubai, man, the Dubai fan base always changes. Mm-hmm. Every 2 years, there's new faces in the audience.
Yeah, it's just a movement. It's just a place that people move. And on that point, Brenda is mentioning one of my favorite bands, not because you are from the region or anything. Hope to see the full lineup on the road soon. And Bashir Ramadan is in the house. Thank you very much for tuning in, Bash? Bashir, man. He's giving you the horns. And
just so these guys know, I can't see the comments. So, Dirty's helping me out here with that. So
I'm his third eye.
These are all my homeboys, man. Like, all these guys. They've been like Serge, Brandon, Bashir. They've been on the road with Nervecell, man.
Yeah, man.
Adnan as well. He was there before in the earlier days, and I mean, it's a great thing, man. Thank you, Dirty, for bringing these guys together, and like giving me the time and like telling you my stories, sharing it with everyone, your viewers and everything. I just hope it inspires people, and really gives people a wake up call to know that if you're gonna fucking play in a band today, which is one of your questions earlier, it's probably harder than it used to be, but nothing's impossible, man. And I've learned that time and time again with everything from endorsements to Max Cavalera finding out about us, to the tours I've done, to all the successes we've had, man.
Man, you don't need to mention it. It was all my pleasure that you actually joined on this show. And believe me, if you let me, I can talk to you for another 4 hours, because this is how much experience I'm gaining from you as a friend, or as that guy that I can refer to later on to my friends, and they say like, I know this guy, he's my friend. And imagine someone else like found out about Nervecell, let's say in Thailand or in Malaysia or someone, and then I'll be like, dude, I know this guy, he's my good friend. Like, I have.
We played in Thailand and Malaysia.
Yeah. And I know you guys been down in Vietnam and Philippines.
Oh yeah.
So you guys been all around the Far East as well. So I mean, again, my advice to you as a fanboy, and as a friend, don't let it go to shit. And I hope you guys can try to work this shit out. And I hope as soon as even Brenda said, to see the whole full lineup back on the
Yeah,
road, man. It's just you guys came too
yeah,
far for this shit just to if I'm
yeah.
sure that you guys will not let it go to waste, but please.
No, I just think it happens to every band. Everyone goes through changes and shit. And like I said, I personally like the fact that you stay away from the scene for a while,
Hmm.
and then you come out with something worth coming out for, and give the fans something to look forward to. So I like that. I think every band should stay away, because then it's overkill, and then it just becomes fucking, you lose the charm of what you are really doing as a band and what you give out to your fans in terms of quality as well.
Exactly. So any final words before we wrap up the show, bro?
Oh, well, I just want to say thanks for doing this, Dirty. I think what you should do is call this show "Talk Dirty to Me."
Dude, please don't make me start that bit, because Adnan was steering the pot, like call it the dirty talks, but I'm looking far-fetched as in like,
No,
maybe.
but I mean that. I want to say this to you before, but I said I'll leave it for the end. I said, because I have nothing to contribute. I mean, I'm just here to tell you my stories as
Dude.
what you invited me, and I'm happy to share them. And like I said, behind the scenes, I book bands. I still manage bands as well. I don't talk about this publicly because that's not essentially who I am. I'm that guy from a band called Nervecell. That's who I am. But on the sidelines, I do a lot of booking on the side for artists. I used to be a promoter too. Again, I used to work backline tech jobs. So I've been in the music industry, like in all aspects, man. I was an A&R guy for Spellbind Records.
Exactly. Yeah,
So,
I still have your
and
business
I'm a
card.
music, right, man. There you
Yeah.
go. And I'm also a music teacher today. So it's like I've done everything: a tech, an artist myself, a writer, music teacher, A&R. All parts of the spectrum, dude.
That's
and
a huge
that's
ass
what
resume,
makes me.
man.
Yeah, I mean, I hate using that word because it's so corporate. But but you're right. You're right. I mean, I'm just because I love what I do, man. I've been if I do something, I never do it half-assed. And I work with bands I really see. I'm proud to put my name behind them, and some of them are locally and some of them are internationally too. I just know what I know, man, and I do what I think I can do good. I don't promise shit I can't deliver on. So I want to say thank you for pitching
Man,
myself.
it's
And
it's my pleasure, man. Don't fucking say such things, man.
And if there's anyone out there watching it as a new band, I'm sorry to cut you off.
No,
I just want to say, don't let my stories destroy your dreams, because that's not what I'm here to say. I'm just here to deliver the truth about what I experienced, and times are changing. So what happened to me and my success stories is not going to be the same template you need to follow. You need to go with the times. A lot of things I say may be frustration coming from a point in time when things were different. You can do a lot of things differently and find success, but you got to be careful about the snakes involved in the scene too, because there's a lot of them. And you always got to keep people at a distance and know who are genuine, because they're very hard to find. And on closing with that, I want to say impossible is nothing. Put in the work, love what you do, because if you love what you do, there's no losses, man. Even if you don't get the success you were aiming for or rooting for, you still make lifelong experiences that will go down with you till the end of time, and you leave your mark with who you inspire. Inspiring people has always been the biggest thing for me. Like, even now being a teacher, when I see the kids I teach and just seeing their happiness in what they've learned and what I could help them get to as players is the best feeling in the world. Making people like you, for example, you were saying you saw us and you wanted to form a band. That's a fucking amazing thing for me to hear. Like, I love that.
Man, it was genuinely it was. I will never bullshit you, man. People know me. Like, once I saw you guys and you're a homegrown fucking band from Dubai, man, what else I fucking want, man? That's enough motive. And again, I know you on a fucking personal level. That's much more, that's the best thing a person can ask for, because I can learn from your experiences. And believe me, with tonight's session, I've learned way more than I never knew this side, as in like the whole difficulties to tour, the shit that you get in return, the dealing with this guy, the dealing with that guy, and kudos to you, man. You guys did it just from a laptop or from a desktop, and you guys did it
Yeah.
very old school, and you were from that old school era. That there was no internet back in the days. It was the early days of the internet. And man,
Well, that's the thing, man. That's the thing. Timing is also everything, man. Like, right place, right time. Good attitude towards taking the hits and facing rejection as well. And also being surrounding yourself with like-minded people, man. It's very important. It takes one guy in a band to break it all, to make it fall. And you need to surround yourself. And I'm very grateful that I was fortunate enough to meet James when I did meet him and have his persona in the band as a frontman. Exactly. Rami, we're all different people, character-wise, personality-wise. But when it comes to the stage, man, we deliver our art, and our expression as musicians is untouchable, because we know what we're up there to do, and we do it because we have a concept that's taught in mind, and we follow ourselves, and it's just passion, dude. It's just passion pouring out at you. In our albums we put out, and when you catch us on tour, there's nothing fake about it. It's real as fuck, and it's like comes with a lot of compromise and pain and suffering, and that when you see us on stage, it's like you're getting it, man. You're getting us. If you feel that shit from us, that's us wearing our hearts on our sleeve, and we're having the time of our life to share that, and even have fans come out.
Exactly. And to wrap up this, man, thank you very much again, Barney, to be on this show. You really, really, really made me super fucking happy, and I was so excited, and awesome. I hope I covered as much as I could with you, man. And thank you very much. Thanks whoever was... Man. Yeah, thanks to whoever tuned in and still watching. Thank you very much. If you can do me a favor, share this video with your friends, share it on your timeline. Let people know about this page so we can make this type of content much more available for you guys. Thank you again, Barney, for being here. And the last comment is from Motasim, is saying, "You rock, Barney. Love you, dude." And I love you too, man.
Thank you. Hey, it was awesome. I don't know if he was listening before. I was giving him props, and I remember when he was starting on Metal East Records, man, he used to come outside my house in his car and like ask me about a few ins and outs about how to start it all. And those are stories I'll never forget, because it's a beautiful thing what he's done with Metal East Records. And with me getting a head start with the label industry shit, with Spellbound Records as an A&R guy, I was so happy to see my knowledge being transferred to a guy who was putting his money on the line and actually going on ground and walking and getting this established.
Exactly.
As a Middle Eastern based record label, that was my dream with Spellbound Records, that I was hired to do as an A&R guy. And I see Mutazim as an individual with his own money and his own backing do that, and till today stand the test of time and do all these sequence of shows, man, and still take the fucking losses and still put on the shows for us. I know what goes behind that. I know, and I'm so happy that he's on this chat, because he knows how real I am, and he knows all the information I passed on to him to go to the media council, get that stamp, and get all this, cover your back and all that shit. And to see what he's done with Metal East Records today is something you, I, and anyone who's an artist, whether you play metal or not, needs to give credit for, because he's keeping the entertainment life circuit alive.
Exactly, man.
And that's fucking awesome with what Metal East Records is saying, that he doesn't pay me to fucking say all this shit.
Exactly. Like, yes, man. Yeah, I completely understand, man. I mean,
I'm on his record label, and I see, and that's the kind of shit I'm talking about. There are snakes involved behind the scenes that you need to be careful of. Mutazim is absolutely not that. He's a genuine dude who's signing bands with the hopes of one day becoming maybe the road runner of the Middle East. I see potential in that.
Exactly.
I see potential in that. That's why I speak highly of it. Exactly. So there's guys like that you got to catch on to, and we as artists got to fucking support. We need that.
Exactly.
It was Desert Rock, it was CSM before, bringing all these bands. Now these individual dudes, Jarber and Mutazim, are doing it, and it's like the Middle East is dependent on these pioneers.
Exactly.
And go out to the fucking shows. Don't have to be on the guest list. Pay for your tickets. As a fan, as an artist, as a band, have a good fucking time. Put out albums. Love what you do. Enjoy, because life is too short. And then tell great stories. Tell great stories after that. Inspire people. That's my shit right there.
Exactly.
I'm done.
Thanks a lot, Barney. Thank you. Thanks for everyone who's watching. Thank you very much. A big shout out to Motassam from Metal East Records and Josine Jobber. Thank you very much, guys,
Fuck
for
yeah, man.
being around and
Awesome.
helping all these bands and giving us that platform to perform. And again, thank you very much, Barney. Thank you for showing up on this show.
My pleasure, buddy.
You made my day,
It's been
man.
a great.
Seriously.
It's been a great 2 hours or something, man. Listen, we got to go to Robbie's another time, man. That's the last time I saw you. Or one of the last times I saw
we
you.
didn't have enough time to talk about the Robbie thing, you know.
For all the guys listening, man, I'll just say this last thing and I'll leave.
Yeah.
All the old school guys would know what Robbie is.
Yeah.
But we got to go there, man. We got to go there, and then we
Yeah,
got to
man.
catch up once we're allowed to all socially be.
Just in a
huggable again.
nutshell, the whole story was that we were like around 12 or 13 people. After a gig, we just walked all the way to the Ravi and Satwa, and we just took a huge ass lane in that fucking restaurant, and it's all of us with like metal t-shirts, and we're just sitting, and we're just ordering desi food, Pakistani food, and it was just one of these experiences that you're gonna like tell your kids, like, you know what?
Well, it's one of those experiences you don't have anymore.
Yeah. It just happened so on the spot. It's like as I told you off air, man, like me and you, we don't chill like often. But when we do chill together, we have so many like amazing stories to tell each other. And like shit like at Ravi happens,
Right. No, those are great times, man. Those were the
Yeah.
scene days where nobody had politics or drama, man. It was just
it
like
was much more
beautiful.
free, man.
We loved what we did, man, and we supported each other, and we went and ate in Robbie's after. That's how it was, man. Simple. Keep it
Yeah,
simple, man.
Anyway, guys, thank you very much for sticking around. Thank you very much again, Barney, and I'll catch you
Thank
guys
you, brother.
soon.
I love it, man. I love it. Listen, keep this up, man. Just maybe say talk dirty to me every time you start a show.
You guys heard
That just sounds catchy, man. I'm telling you, it sounds Converse and Chill is a bit too civil for me.
It's too
I think you should say
cheesy.
talk dirty to me. Talk dirty to me would make people wonder, like, okay, this is gonna be some no holds barred, no holding back, unfiltered shit. So you get the best
Exactly.
out of everyone.
You guys,
And that's your name. You gotta tell people. They don't know that. They don't know that's your name.
No, they know it, Barney. They know it, and it's a very embarrassing story to say because
Well, I'm
it's
sure
not-
there's a lot of people who don't know your name's Dirty, like AKA Dirty.
Yeah, but I you know what? If you
It's a
want to know
story to
about
it, man.
that,
It's a story to it.
Adnan made me say that on the live sessions before, so I think they know
Awesome.
by now.
Awesome, man. Keep it up, dude. And I'm really
Thanks
proud
a
of
lot,
your
man.
journey. I
Thank
know
you.
you were in AKB. I know
Thanks.
AKB was like the only new metal band we ever saw here. Maybe there was a
Thanks, man.
bunch of others, but didn't really do anything on record. When you put something on record, then you've done that one step, and AKB did that.
Thank
a lot
you
of bands
very
did
much,
not
man.
release
Thank
stuff.
you. That
So,
means the world
man,
to me, man. Coming from you.
Bring AKB back, man. Get Salman, and
we
Ali.
are writing some stuff. We are in the making, but we're
Yeah.
taking it step by step because some of us are engaged with other bands, so we're just taking our
Sure,
time.
sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. The scene never had a new metal band, and you guys pretty much did that at a level where no one else did.
Thanks a lot,
So,
man. This
bring
means
the
the
shit
world
back,
to me,
man.
man. This means the world to me, man. Thank you
All right,
again,
thank
man.
you for your time. Thank you for your time.
No
man.
worries, man. You guys, I'll see you guys soon.
Right.
Take care, and thanks a lot for sticking around. Thank you very much. I'll see you guys
Thank
soon.
you, everyone, in the comments. I will read them later.
Sure, man. Take
Have a
care
good
of
night, guys.
yourself. Good night.
Cheers.